Rick did it. Excellent.
Oh, okay, we're done. We're live. Okay, good.
So who needs to be the host? Does it need to be Lauren or does it need to be Elizabeth?
Lauren?
Lauren.
Okay. Rick, you're going to do this now. You're going to go highlight Lauren on the participants thing, go to more and make her the host. And she's going to make you co-host.
Who am I making co-host?
Well, make
Rick.
me co-host. I think Rick probably, are you going to probably get off here in a minute? And
Yeah, if you're through with me, I can
Yeah.
I can leave. But
Oh.
if
And
I
just Betsy,
accomplish what
Lauren.
you need, I've made Lauren the co-host or the host rather.
right,
Yep,
okay.
you did it.
Okay, and Rick, I'll touch base with you as soon as I get off here.
Okay,
And Lauren, if
I'll
you can make
okay.
Betsy co-host, I think we're done with the host co-host thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate
and I
you.
can click leave meeting and not disrupt anything.
Yes, you can.
All right, you all have a nice day. Thanks for the training
Okay.
session.
Thank
you.
you.
Too. Thanks, Rick.
All right, cool. Thank you.
I am co-host. Laura, does anybody else need to be co-host?
I think everybody else is. We need to make the ASL computer from. No, this is gonna stay on spotlight on that one.
They have the spotlight on them.
We do need to make ASL co-hosts, both of those.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the best practices in the event that they were going to toggle back and forth. They probably won't this time, but I just want to make sure that they are.
Is there any way to make this brighter?
Yep.
Right?
Looks good on YouTube. The ASL one is spotlighted
Perfect.
and the agenda is up. We're good.
Okay. Why are they doing that?
I don't know, it looks, the camera view looks good.
No, the actual screen is dark.
Oh.
Hey,
so-
David?
David?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Okay. Yeah, we have misses too, because if the other deaf person wants to
Yes.
say something, they have to pin them on both of these.
All right, now the camera view is off on ASL.
Yeah, there's no camera on
Yeah,
that
that's
one, that's just to pin.
Can I get you to move over just for a second for safety's sake? And I'll try and make an adjustment to that for you. Thank you.
Okay, that's better.
So I'll fix that. So you'll use this one for speaking to them, and then we're gonna pin one, either Jolie Vaughn or Jenny on this one, and the other one on the other computer, so that if they need to say something, you'll actually be able to see them instead of just being a tiny little window. So you just have to switch back and forth between this computer. And we don't expect you to wear your mask when you're signing. We know that you need to take it off to do your job, that's fine. And then you can just kind of come and go as you need to. But once the meeting gets going, it should be pretty easy. We've done a meeting before with ASL and it worked well, so. Okay.
It is a Fulbright instance, what we have, unfortunately. Yeah, I know.
And can I request that the captioner, can you type a few test things so I can see that it's coming across on YouTube, please?
Good morning. Yeah.
All right, this is the view you had before. Let's go full screen. Now I'm gonna get out of your way.
Joel Vaughn, is
Sorry.
that how you say her name? Right.
Jolie Vaughn, yeah.
She usually voices for herself when she's here, so, right?
Why is this not showing up?
I think
online?
sometimes,
Somebody
So we'll
is
just have to-
captioning into the text box and not into the captioning. Please change where you are captioning.
well, that would be a lot of text.
Captioning
We gotta talk about the other one.
has to relaunch meeting. Why? Oh, she has to relaunch the meeting. She's out.
You all allow the participants to keep their videos
Okay,
on.
so our captioner's gone right now? Looks like.
That's why we're gonna pin them, because otherwise you'll just get a screen of videos.
Right, because I've done some workshops where everybody turns their camera off until
Okay.
they have a question. There's a setting on here that says hide, can't hide view if people do have their camera off, and then when they have a question, they automatically pop up because they're the only person.
No, we just leave it.
Okay.
That's why, your computer is spotlighted, so,
Lauren,
the one you're signing into, everybody will
Always.
always see. No matter what anybody else does, they can still have the gallery view on the side,
Mm-hmm,
but you'll still be there front and center.
okay.
It just makes it easier, so then Jenny and Julie Vaughn don't lose you in the shuffle,
Okay.
so we can make sure that they're with us.
Assign to closed caption, yes, you can look through your widths.
Okay, so Lauren, can you reassign closed captioning?
She
to
did
Debbie?
it,
Okay,
she's done it.
and you might want to rename Debbie Easterly.
Let me come and adjust the,
Elizabeth, are you on?
Yeah. Oh, is that the captioner? What, Betsy, what am I doing?
Oh, yeah.
it's just a little. Yeah, that's good. Here, we gotcha.
All right. That looks perfect on YouTube, the ASL right now.
We're good.
They're good. Okay, so I'm looking to see if it's coming across the captioning on YouTube.
I don't think we have anybody in the executive committee who needs ASL. So you
I'm
may
seeing
become,
captioning on Zoom too, so that's great, it's coming through and it's on Zoom and on YouTube. Perfect.
I don't see it on YouTube yet, the captions.
And the 10 o'clock meeting is open, right? for people
Do
to come
you
on?
think you may need to restart YouTube to get that to kick in?
Yeah, that's why.
You know, we may have to, since it,
Because the YouTube.
Yeah, go ahead and do that, Betsy. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
They'll have to.
Well, you'll have to be host again.
anybody on the council will be on Zoom.
all right.
Anybody in the public who wants to watch it will watch us, the live stream on YouTube.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, Lauren, when you have a second, we're gonna have to relaunch YouTube, I believe, so the captioning's not coming across.
Yeah, once we started captioning it stopped, so if you could make Lauren,
Betsy, make me the host and I'll end it.
Okay.
This is new, but we'll figure it out.
There we go.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay,
Your host.
Your host.
all right, let me make you co-host. All right, I'm gonna,
I'm in touch with David McKenzie. I think he saw that that's written in the chat. Hang on.
okay, we're live again.
Hey,
So,
this is David McKenzie. Hello, how can I help you?
Mr. McKenzie?
Yes.
Hi, Mike Bardell with the Captioners. We have to relaunch again because every time they reassign you, the captioner, it knocks her out, so we have to go back in. I've been writing in the chat area. When you screen share, that bounces the captions from the caption box to the chat area. It's a shortfall in the Zoom coding.
I understand what you're saying. We were able to get around it last week. Each time we identified that they were no longer captioning in the text box, they were able to restart it themselves without rejoining the meeting. So I'm not really sure what's changed.
okay, Lauren, I made you the host.
What I can tell you is whenever it is Zoom meeting,
Okay,
you do screen sharing or a poll, whatever you do bounces the captions into the caption box. It's
Okay.
not coming from the captioner.
Understood. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop sharing at any point for the rest of this meeting. So it will be constantly on. So that should not be a problem.
Okay, well, the captioner is going to have to go back in because every time they reassign her, she has to relaunch and get back in again.
Okay.
There's a work going on here.
I think we already have her back in the meeting as captioner. Is she still in?
yes, she's in.
Hold on one sec.
Yes.
Debbie Early is already back in the meeting. Thank you for alerting this to all of us. We appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. All right, Lauren, can you make me co-host and then somebody needs to rename Debbie Easterly as captioner?
Wait, she's already captioner.
Well, I know, rename her. I mean, rename Debbie Easterly captioner.
Okay, do you need to be host or co-host, Betsy?
Make me co-host. No, we're live streaming. We're good. Everything looks good on YouTube right now. I just need to see captioner. Debbie, if you could just type a few more, type some test captions so we can see if it comes across YouTube. Can you please type some?
She's saying in the chat that we need to assign her.
Assign me just once. I am, well, she's already assigned captioner, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll unassign her and reassign her.
First time I actually had to wear real clothes.
Now, don't reassign. I mean, just keep it.
No, I had to take her off and put her back. All right. Captioner has been added again. That's all that I know to do.
Didn't reassign as captioner, you want to try and, yeah.
Nothing. So,
So we will need AFL.
I'm like, yeah, I see Joe was on the road, did
What is
makeup,
office with SE
did
on
fix
this?
my wig, I was on the road by 8:25. My alarm went off at 7:45, and then my alarm went off at 8, and I was like, I gotta get up. I got up at 8:05. Showered. So we do need us to interpret that.
Yeah, it looks like we'll have to see if she wants to stay.
Okay, is this in chat?
So yours is spotlighted, and you can see hers over if you want to.
Ask her if she's going to participate in the executive committee or if she wants to come back at 10 for the full council.
Cam's with us too.
Yeah, I got Cam. Who is Office of SEIS?
Hey, that's Daniel. Sorry, I need to log out and log back in under my
Okay,
actual.
when you come back in, I'm gonna rename you just so we know who you are, okay?
Oh, I gotta leave and get off this account. So I'll be back.
Okay, perfect.
Hey everybody, it's Garrett.
Hi, Garrett.
Morning, Garrett.
Morning.
That was Lauren talking. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
All right.
Is she gonna stay for the?
She said she was gonna stay for the executive.
Okay. I don't see any,
No, I don't know what's going on.
I don't even see it as a,
I have mine on and it's not.
She's gonna be.
oh, they want relaunched, logging back in. Okay.
Can you see this? Well, you have her over there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably, I don't know if you want to pin her over here. Pin
So let's also
Jenny.
stay for the
I
executive
really want to
committee.
do.
Yeah, I'm adding them. I need to rename
Just
them
letting
too.
everyone up there, right?
This is what people will see me on YouTube. And then I've already pinned Joey on that one, and then when
Jenny joins us, we'll pin her on the other one, so you can see her.
Do you mean to be muted, David?
Thank you. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make the captioner co-host as well when they come in, just to see if that helps avoid these issues.
Okay.
Thank you.
And assign her, yeah, captioning. She's there.
Have not seen her come back in.
But yeah, she's there. Captioner,
Yeah,
co-host,
and they are co-host
Co-host.
and.
and
they have been
captioner.
good captioners.
Perfect. Okay, if Debbie, if you
Excellent. Well
can,
done, Lauren.
you can do some test typing, please.
All right, my captioning is on and I'm not seeing any subtitles.
I've been assigned a caption. This should be assigned a captioner. Oh, Lauren, you did assign, right? Her as captioner?
Yes, I did.
Oh, it says communique was assigned.
No, I changed the name to captioner. I
Okay,
changed communicate to be captioner.
okay.
That'd be the captioner. Communicate is communicate. It's the.
I don't see communique on here anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's because I changed them. So we don't have another person on the call. We don't have.
Yeah, there are two people. Communique is Marguerite. She's on there for, quality control, and then the captioner is on separately.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
but
I need
Debbie
to
has not
withdraw.
rejoined us. Debbie, the captioner, has not rejoined us. She's not on the call.
I need to withdraw closed captioning permission from communique because that's who I have. I'm gonna rename them.
Right. All right, well, where's Debbie?
Okay.
So she's not rejoined, okay.
What's going on in chat? Let's see. Yeah. All right, everyone, just bear with us as we get the captioning straightened out. That's what we're doing right now, so.
Is Linda coming? What? Is Linda coming to the meeting? She's the only second person on there. Or did she say she couldn't make it?
Ah, there she is, okay. All right, she just rejoined, captioner just rejoined. Lauren.
All right, I'm on
Go
it.
ahead and
I'm making co-host and I'm gonna make captioner.
assign her, yeah, perfect.
Are you done with that, Lauren? Is she ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, please
Everything's
try and
been done.
caption now, Debbie. You're co-host and you are assigned to caption.
All right, so Debbie, are you able to type and test the captioning, please?
There's a message in the chat.
Stand by, launching meeting again. Oh, she's on. I think that's an old message. Okay.
She
all right.
says hi. Debbie says hi, and it is in the
chat
chat
box.
only. Hi, Debbie. We do not see you in captioning. We only see you say hi in chat box.
Yeah. I think so.
Are you
Yes,
sure?
we are positive we assigned you as captioner. The host has a CC next to your name and is next to Debbie and not next to communicate.
Well, when,
All right, now we go back in the chat.
I've gotta go back up and reassign.
Is she, okay. Assign to closed caption. Okay, perfect. You're reassigned now, Debbie.
Okay, there they
Here we
are.
go.
We got it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Communicate. And Elizabeth, and Betsy, is that going through to YouTube at this point?
It is not. I don't see it. I mean, I know it's delayed about 15 seconds, but
Yeah,
that's-
give it a sec. Still nothing, right?
it's nothing, yeah.
All right, we're gonna need
Should
to
I re-
start and stop YouTube one more time. So that means that Betsy needs to be made the host, Lauren.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Hold on, let me that.
Lauren, I'm sorry, I don't know if you heard me. We need to make Betsy the host so she can
Yeah,
start and
I'm
stop.
making her host now.
Thank you.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let me just
We are now streaming again live on YouTube. So Gabby, if you can give us some sample test captioning so we can see if that goes through.
yes.
Yes,
Got it.
all right, we are at 100% functionality. Thank you, everyone, for your patience.
And Lauren, if you could just make me co-host, that'd be the last step.
Okay.
And one last reminder also, Lauren, whoever wants to record, once we get at a starting point, we'll want to go ahead and hit record.
You are doing that, Elizabeth, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and record now.
Give me two seconds.
The text box right now. Captioner, we're not seeing your captions at this point again.
Elizabeth, there's an email from
They are in the chat box. They are not in caption window. Now we're back. Perfect. And if you, at the end of this, could send us an email to let us know what that last step was to get that back, we would love to capture that information. Thank you so much.
All right. Good morning, Garrett. Are you still there?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, indeed, I am here. Good morning.
Okay. Everything's ready. If you would like to call this meeting to order, it is 9:22.
All right, 9:22. Let's call this meeting to order.
Right. The first item that you all have up, by the way, I'm Lauren Snyder-Roche. Sorry, I got all busy with the arrangements this morning. You do have captioning. You do have 2 ASL interpreters here. Their screen is spotlighted so that they don't lose contact. So that's why your screen will probably not bounce around like a normal Zoom meeting, in case you're wondering. So just before you say something, if you could say your name, that'll help us a lot. The interpreters, captioner, everybody, it'll go much smoother. So, all right, we'll get this started. And the first item is your minutes from back in November.
Yeah, so if we can think back that far, does anybody have any questions about the minutes? Did everybody have a chance to look them over? I did and didn't see anything that needed to be changed.
Okay. Hey, I'm taking a look at who we have to make sure that, I don't know that you technically, I thought I saw Brian up here. Elizabeth, did you see Brian join? Or Linda? Okay, well, we're gonna be taking notes, so we can't actually approve those, but if they hop on, you'll be able to officially approve those if you like. So right now we're just in note mode because you don't actually have your quorum. But since it is so late, we have to move things along and keep it going. So the nominating committee, Garrett, I was really hoping that Brian would be on for this conversation because your 1 year will be up. You were elected at the last meeting that you all had, right? It's as if time hasn't done anything, but it has. We've had time pass, but you were elected at the November meeting, correct?
No, I was elected in August.
August?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting confused then. So August, but you've only had one meeting as this is just going on your second. So, all right. So I don't know that you're eligible, both Brian and Garrett, to everybody on the call right now, are eligible for a second term. So it will be up to the council as to whether we need to form we can do it one of a couple of ways. We can form the nominating committee and have Garrett and Brian already on the ballot. And that way the nominating committee still does their homework and talks to all of the members and gets input. Does that option sound like it would work for you all?
You all being me or everyone else?
Well, there's more than just you on the call, yes, but Daniel, you're also on.
Yes, hi, this is Daniel. I think that seems like a reasonable plan, assuming assuming Garrett and Brian want to do it.
Exactly. And we have no idea, Garrett. You said that you would if that's what the council wanted.
Yes.
So we'll have to wait, and hopefully Brian will jump on and you all can have this conversation with the full council starting at 10 during that meeting. Okay?
Sounds good.
The next item on your agenda is the possible SRC bylaw changes. And I want Elizabeth to talk to you about this. You can't really see, even in the room view, Elizabeth isn't really, she has somehow gotten away from being in front of a camera. So, but she's here, and I'm gonna let her talk to you about the bylaw changes so that you know in the next meeting how that discussion is going to go and you have some more background.
No, I apologize for not having a camera, but mostly the bylaw changes, I pretty much just cleaned it up for ease of use, changed some of the formatting. There's nothing that's really changed in the content of what you have right now. basically what we want to do is we've pulled out the electronic meeting policy, and we're gonna turn that into a separate, like an addendum, and we will send that out to you after this meeting. But the reason we want to do that is because before this whole pandemic happened, it was very difficult to have an electronic meeting according to the FOIA regulations. We were required to have everyone in person. Obviously, the pandemic has changed everything and we've had to meet online. So by taking it out and making it a separate addendum to the bylaws, it's going to make it easier if we have changes in the future, because we won't need to vote to completely change the bylaws document. We will only need to vote to change the addendum. So we're hoping that because of this pandemic, that the General Assembly is going to come out with some nicer FOIA requirements for us that will allow us to meet electronically when we need to. So the biggest change is you'll see on section 2D on page 5 of your bylaws is where it says that we will meet according to the electronic policy of the SRC. And I will send that to you after this meeting. I forgot to get that out to you, but nothing else has changed in the content of the bylaws.
All right, my screen sharing is not behaving right now. I wanted to pull it up for you. I'm really worried to do this because sometimes this can boot the captioner into the chat box, but I'm gonna try. Give me 1 second. All right. So in the changes that are now, you should see, you have the art, they look different, mostly because they are a larger font size. They are a larger font size, and the articles are listed at the top. And if we go down, it is not letting me scroll. Hopefully you have this document, you've looked over it. The nice thing about this is going over them, you review them in this meeting, but you don't adopt them until the next meeting. So everybody will have plenty of time between this meeting and the next meeting to adopt to go over them and make sure that you don't have any issues before adopting them at the next meeting. Really, the electronic meeting is the only part that changes, and having it as an addendum does allow you to not change the bylaws every time. So the more things that you can have as addendums, the better, because you can change those without changing your whole bylaw sections. Are there any questions about that? Thanks, Elizabeth, for going over that. Is the sound okay for you all?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, I just want to make sure. Next meeting dates. Here's the thing. You had a meeting scheduled for August 17th. That is 2 weeks from now. I think that if you feel comfortable, you may want to actually push that meeting into September. It does a couple of things. It allows you to have more than 2 weeks before your next meeting, which isn't long, which will lead to a more productive meeting. It also will hopefully give us more insight about some other things that are going on. The conference that's scheduled to be in November, the NCSRC conference, I haven't heard anything about that being virtual yet. I don't think they've made that decision, but I'm hoping that if we push the meeting out, we might have that information. And there also needs to be some time before the next meeting because of the new hearing officers, which Elizabeth is going to talk to you about in the full meeting. But how do your schedules look? And even Jolie Fawn and Pam, you can chime in too. You're here, so you can chime in about your schedules. How do they look for moving this into, instead of it being August 17th, moving it into September, which would be, I believe I saw September 14th, or you could do it September 21st. I think that's the next, let me look. Yeah, the 14th or the 21st are Mondays.
That's fine with me.
Which do you prefer, Garrett?
I'm willing to take a consensus. I mean, I can do either one,
Okay.
whichever works
Okay.
for everyone.
This is Daniel. I'm also open for both of those.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is Pam. I'm available as well.
okay. Jolie Fawn?
Oh, yes, this is Jolafon. This, either date is fine with me in September.
Okay. Do you all feel okay about moving the meeting? You don't have to move it if you want to have a meeting in 2 weeks. I'm happy to have a meeting with you in 2 weeks.
No, I'll just say, this is Pam, who, this is my second term. I've been on the SRC for some time. I think Daniel has too. We came on about the same time, and we have been used to having these regularly scheduled meetings, with November being like retreatish type thing. So this is just different. So it's just kind of in just regrouping. I'm not saying a whole lot because we've had a few emails, but other than that, there's been very little communication and everything. So I would just say that moving it to September, is that the time? Then we'll set up all the following meeting dates, because that's what we've normally done also, as far as doing all the meeting dates. And since we haven't met yet at all, should we be prepared to schedule out, if we're doing things differently starting in September, what's going to be the meeting after that?
Well, I don't anticipate you changing your retreat dates.
Okay.
So this gives you by pushing it out to September, the only thing that happens is it gives you all an even chunk of time between this meeting to September and then September to November.
Yeah.
It more evenly spaces things for you.
And then in November, then we just set the dates like we normally did for quarterly. Okay.
Yeah, I think you set your dates in November. I have the minutes.
Yeah.
So, you would be setting your dates again, just like that for the next year. But I do want to caution you that right now, especially, it's very difficult to know. You can only meet like this as long as that budget language is in place and there's an active state of emergency.
Yes.
So I don't want you to, totally think that we don't know when the state of emergency is going to end. So I can't tell you when meetings are going to resume in person. That would be the thing that could, and of course, before you all meet in person, I would be sending out something to each of you individually, gauging your comfort level about meeting in person, because I think that that's important too.
Mm-hmm. Also, while I'm muted quickly, I didn't see agendas in emails. I've got the emails with the newsletters. I've got the emails with the bylaws. I didn't see agendas or minutes in a prior email.
The agendas for both of these meetings were attached to the June 15th email in which the bylaws were sent in.
Yeah, I've looked at that one multiple times and I still don't see them in
You're not getting all the attachments? I can do that right now.
Okay.
I can send it to you right now from my phone.
Okay.
Okay. Jolie Fawn, do you have your meeting materials?
I do.
Daniel, any issues? I want to send them to anybody and everybody. If I need to send them again, it's not a problem.
I've got mine.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm looking all over. I've looked all over my emails prior to this meeting again. I just don't see them, so I apologize for that.
oh, no problem. It's not, this is good. This gives us a little time to get it to you before the next meeting starts. Not exactly perfect.
And lastly, I do have another Zoom. I think you and I emailed about that at 10. So I'm going to have to pop off and then pop back on. So just.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So either September the 14th or 21st are great with me.
Okay, so in the next meeting with the full council, Garrett, let's pull the members on the call about the 14th or 21st. Does that sound good?
Yes, indeed. And you want me to do that in my report in the beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
If you could do that during your report, that would be great.
Sounds good.
Okay. So I feel bad. Pam's just getting the agenda, but at least Daniel and Garrett, have you had a chance to look over the agenda, and do you feel comfortable? Were there any outstanding questions before we go into the next meeting?
No, it's
Garrett,
pretty straightforward.
Okay. Anything, Garrett?
No, again, it looked pretty straightforward. Status of membership, I was just wondering if we had anyone.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, let's talk about that. So I should have gone over that when we were talking about the nominating committee. Somebody was nominated to fill Linda Garris-Bright's position when it becomes vacant, and that would be at starting October 1st. And somebody from the Newport News Shipbuilding, which I believe is Huntington and Ingalls, has applied. That application has hit the Secretary of the Commonwealth's office. So I'm hoping to hear more really soon, but we do have a business, labor and industry person who has applied.
And do you want me to still just say that in my report that we have someone that's applied to take?
Yeah, someone that's filled out their application, and it's going to go through the review like with every applicant. Mm-hmm. They came highly recommended.
That's great. But that's the only transition right now?
That is the only transition. Luckily, I think that's quite enough for you guys right now with everything else. And today's meeting, just to kind of give you a snapshot, it's been shortened mostly. The next meeting, the bulk of that was, we don't have anybody presenting anything today except for what's on the agenda. And the member reports at 11 o'clock, I cut that time down some because the Zoom meetings tend to run a little faster, but there's also not as many people that for some reason want to speak up during these. So I just shortened it. I think everybody gets a little bit of Zoom fatigue as the meeting crawls on. So just trying to be conscious of that. I want you all to give me lots of feedback after this meeting if it was too short or too long, okay? And I think that unless you have any other questions, you are safe to maybe mute and go off camera if you want until we reconvene in just about 15 minutes for the 10 o'clock. Except Pam, you're going to be jumping in and out, which we'll try to keep track, okay? All right, it is. We don't have a quorum, so I'm just taking the unofficial notes.
Okay.
9:42.
And Lauren, one more question. When we're talking about, when I'm talking about the possible bylaw changes, is that when I let Elizabeth speak more on that? Or?
Elizabeth has a spot on our agenda to talk about this, and I'm really hoping when we take a break, I'm going to try to get my screen sharing.
I'm sorry, I didn't. I see that.
So she'll, but that's, Elizabeth, do you want to, that's for the fair hearing. That's not for the bylaw changes.
I think Garrett could probably just say how there's no content changes in the bylaws. We're just adding an addendum to the electronic meeting policy.
Okay,
And
so
we'll send that out for everyone to review before the next meeting.
Garrett,
Yes.
adding addendum regarding electronic meetings. That's the only substantive change. That addendum will go out to each of you after this meeting. It will come to you today. Okay?
Okay, so that's all I should really highlight there.
Yeah, because we don't, unless you want us to pull up the addendum, but you all will still need the time to review it on your own.
Sure.
So you can do it, you can either say it or you can turn it over to Elizabeth during your portion. Which do you want to feel best about?
I guess I'll just turn it over to Elizabeth, just since she may have. I mean,
Okay.
I can certainly just say that, but if she wants to give more detail, then.
Okay, Elizabeth, do you have the addendum that you can pull up and screen share? Okay, we'll do that. So you just throw it to Elizabeth when you're ready, okay, Garrett?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I think that you guys can take a break. Just don't log out. I don't want you to log out and then us lose you forever. Yeah.
Yep.
Hello? 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 Hello?
Justin, are you trying to say hi to us? We have the meeting room muted right now.
I was actually testing my audio to make sure it worked.
Oh, okay, cool deal. I'm gonna mute back the conference room, but if y'all need anything, just let us know.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So if I go into the Zoom system, is that how what you guys want me to do, Lauren? Should I just,
Yeah, long,
and it won't mess up the feedback, right?
as long as you just have, don't click the link audio on anything, it'll just pick up somewhere.
Okay.
Or we have any do.
Yeah. I'm still, hi, we have somebody on the line that is labeled IOW 39575. Do you by any, can you tell me who you are?
Looks like they're still connecting.
Yeah, this is video or audio.
They'll hear us in a second, hopefully. Let me see if I can send, can you send a chat?
No, it says still connecting.
Mine, it does not.
You go to the little picture on the side. It doesn't say it's not. Yes.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, this is Marguerite Bardone with Communicate Your Captioners. I've been trying to get folks' attention. I want to bring to everybody's attention that Zoom coding is not made for captioning. What we're doing right now is trying to work around shortfalls. They are aware of it since the beginning of the year. This is not how we traditionally do it.
Oh, can I interrupt you, please? This is
I'm
not
sorry?
a conversation for this meeting. We can talk about this offline.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you. I just wanted to make sure the technical was looking at the chat area.
This is not an appropriate conversation for this meeting. We can talk about this at another time offline.
Understood. I just wanted to make sure the technical was aware that I was putting information in there for them because I'm not getting a response. All right. I'm going to hang up now. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, we definitely got a quorum.
Okay, I need to, well, I guess Lauren needs to look for us, I mean. You're letting me know, isn't it?
Yeah. We can do it.
Who is logged on as IOW 39575?
I'm gonna do it.
I believe that's me, Barbara Burkett.
Oh, hi, Barbara.
Hi.
I will rename you in the system. This is Lauren.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Garrett, are you still with us? We have a quorum.
Yes, indeed, we have a quorum. That is great.
Yes, we can, we can start when you're ready, Garrett.
All right, glad to do it. It is 10:01. Let's call this meeting to order. have an introduction to the members. So I'm Garrett Brumfield. I am the chairperson of this SRC. I guess.
Captions are in the chat box. Never mind.
Who now? Is Brian on?
Hey Garrett, I think we're losing your sound.
Okay, you're losing my sound? What about now?
I think we were, it was fading out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're okay.
Sorry. So yeah, how are we going to do the introduction to members? Are we just let everyone? Am I to introduce everyone on Zoom, or are we still going to go around?
What we can do is, because we've asked everybody to mute until they're speaking. So what I can do is read down the list of who we have participating. If you open up the participant box, you'll also see these along with some extra people who are helping to facilitate. Would you like me to read down that list?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can do that.
All right. Well, we've got myself, Lauren Snyder Roche. I'm so happy to see you all for the first time. It's very nice. Let me admit somebody. All right. We've got Betsy Silvalet. She's Betsy McElfresh. She's actually doing our YouTube streaming for us so that we can have this available to the public simultaneously. We have a captioner. We have a couple of people. We have our 2 ASL interpreters. They are on spotlight view. So what you'll notice is your screen is not going to jump around like a normal Zoom meeting to the active speaker. It's going to stay spotlighted on the ASL interpreters so that they don't lose contact. Okay. We also have Elizabeth Pataka, staff. We have Erin Bassard. Hi, Erin. We have Barbara Burkett, staff. We have Catherine Harrison. You'll see Communique, that is part of the captioning team. Dale Batten, Deputy Commissioner. Hi, Dale. We have Daniel Irwin. We have Dawn Mosley. Garrett, you're on here. Garrett Brumfeld, Chair. Jenny Whittemore. Jolie Fawn Liddell, Justin Spurlock, Kathy Hayfield, Commissioner. Hi. And we have Madeline Nunnally. Madeline, do you go by Maddie or Madeline? This is a me question. Go ahead.
Either is fine.
Okay, no preference. Wow. All right, y'all are easy to accommodate. Tammy Burns. We also have Tim Woodward from WWRC. We have Leah Mills from Policy. We have Sean Utt. And we have somebody who's dialing in from a 276 area code. Who is that? You are muted. If you have an area code 276 and you are calling in, you might be maybe on the computer and calling in. If you could let me know who you are. Hello. I think that might be, I hear typing, but I don't want to. Can you message them, Elizabeth? All right, Garrett, so that gives you. Sean? Okay, Sean, that's Sean. All right, Sean's got his computer going and his phone, so that's 2 in 1 there. All right, back to you, Garrett.
All right. Thank you very much. Next, we need to approve the agenda. Hopefully, everyone got the meeting materials and was able to see the agenda for today. Anyone has any questions or comments about today's agenda, please need to move to our attention. If not, then we will move on to review the minutes. Did anyone have any questions about, and I'm going to keep up with the chat here. Did anyone have any questions about the minutes from the previous meeting?
Which was way back in November, way back.
Can't even remember what happened before. So,
We're losing you a little bit on your audio, Garrett. I'm not sure if that's just me.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what's going on with audio. I'll try to speak up
You sound great right now.
as loud as
great.
possible. Yeah, so if for some reason you can't hear me, just please feel free to let me know that. So if no one has any questions about the minutes from the previous meeting, I guess, forgive me, but we don't have to approve in.
Unless there are changes, they can be approved by consensus.
Okay. So
I'll make note that they stand, no corrections, no objections.
Sounds good. Very much. All right, matters of public comment.
You did not receive any public comment. That public comment was open until yesterday evening, and I just checked again, and I haven't received any public comment.
Okay. Good. Yeah, we barely do receive any public comment. So now moving forward on into my report, you know, I just really hope that everyone has stayed safe and healthy through all of this pandemic. First and foremost, this has been a challenging time for everyone. I know firsthand personally that, that it is challenging in isolation sometimes, and also hopefully no one has lost anyone in this pandemic. I unfortunately lost a family member, so it has been challenging. So thoughts and prayers and all of that to you all as we find this new normal in life, and within the SRC now being virtually for the time being. But we want to stay connected. It's important to stay connected with your colleagues and friends and all of that stuff. So hopefully you're finding ways to do that. Now moving into the status of the SRC membership. We have one individual who submitted application to take over Linda Garris Bright's position from the business, labor, and industry side, and that is that is in the process, and they come very highly regarded, and so we will keep you up on that. That is the only change right now in terms of Up next, I want to then talk about the possible bylaw changes, one of which that allows us to be able to meet virtually like this. And for more on that, I will hand it over briefly to Elizabeth Pataka to tell us a little bit more about those that bylaw change and amendment.
Thank you, Garrett. The biggest change in the bylaws is just going to be that we're pulling out the electronic meeting policy, which you can see on your screen. Normally, we're not allowed to meet electronically like this, but since we're under a state of emergency, we're allowed to do it. Normally, we're bound by FOIA requirements, which only allow certain exceptions for people to join us electronically, whether it's a personal or family emergency. So what we've done is we've pulled the electronic meeting out of the bylaws and made it a separate addendum. So you'll find that the bulk of your bylaws are the same. We've changed some of the formatting and made updates just to make it a little more concise. What we're hoping is that next time the General Assembly meets, they'll realize that we have this greater need to meet electronically sometimes, and they might allow changes to the FOIA, which will change this electronic meeting policy. And you can take time to read this between now and the next meeting. You won't be making any decisions on this today. But this is why when we're allowed to meet now, and they are very strict rules. So by pulling that out, if there is a change in the FOIA requirements in the future, instead of updating the entire bylaws document, we will only need to vote to change the addendum on the electronic meeting policy. So we'll send this out to you today for you to read between now and the next meeting. And you should already have a copy of the draft bylaw changes. And if you compare those to your previous ones, you'll see that there's not much difference. Most of your bylaws come straight out of your regulations. So the electronic meeting policy is the biggest change in that.
All right. Someone going to say something?
Question about the bylaws?
All right, Jenny, go ahead.
So the old bylaws, Article 3C, says majority of the SRC members will be individuals with disabilities. The new draft does not have that about.
So under 3C,
Article 3C, majority of SRC members will be individuals with disabilities who are not working for DARS.
yeah, Jenny, I see that it does not have a majority of, it also doesn't, I believe, have, no. So we need to bring that language from.
Great.
Yeah, 3C, I'm not sure where this gets dropped, but I see it in its entirety on page 2 of the current standing bylaws. A majority of the SRC members shall be persons who are individuals with disabilities and not employed by DARS, and that will need to be brought into the new proposed changes. That is not intentional that that is left off at all. That is a really good catch, thank you. We will make that change. We're right now making that change. And what will happen is at the end of this meeting, I will send out the standing bylaws because you haven't voted on anything. The proposed changes, which Jenny should reflect what you have just brought up, as well as the electronic meeting addendum. Those will all 3 be in one email for you so that you have between now and the next meeting to review those carefully.
All right. Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Next up, I want to mention that a nominating committee will be formed to elect or re-elect new members of the council. And I'm sorry, Lauren, when will we be electing the nominate, or when will the nominating committee be formed?
The nominating committee will be formed in between now and the next meeting and get all of that information collected so that it's ready, that you'll have a slate of officers at the next meeting, which brings me to, do we have any volunteers that would like to serve? We only need 2 people to carry out this work. If we have any volunteers, that would be great. You can let us know in the chat, or you can unmute, whichever you prefer. Don't everybody volunteer at once.
I'm interested.
Who is this? I'm sorry.
Justin.
All right, Justin, awesome. Thank you.
Justin.
No problem.
Okay. Well, I'll twist some arms between this meeting and a day or two. I'll get out there, and there are some people that aren't on the call today that I think would probably be happy to. Some members that are rotating off. Linda is rotating off. So she might be willing to. I'm not volunteering her. I'm just saying she might be willing to. So I will check into that, and you will have an update from that nominating committee at your next meeting. So Garrett, you can bounce back to future meeting dates.
Indeed. So that brings us to my last item, and that is future meeting dates. Our next meeting is scheduled for August 17th, but that is only a couple of weeks away, as you all are aware. And so we were talking about between the August meeting and the November meeting, pushing the August meeting to either September 14th or September 21st. Now, personally, that either one of those Mondays either one of those Mondays work. But we want to get a consensus from the committee to see what works for everyone else too. So please feel free to give input as to which days work.
I can also send out an email polling you if you prefer, and give it maybe a week's expiration date if you'd prefer to do it that way, or you can type into the chat, you can unmute yourself. Just make sure that you state your name before you speak if you unmute. This is again for September 14th or 21st. Were either of those dates, is anybody not able to do one of those dates? Let's work it from that direction. Okay, Aaron, either. Sean, either. Hi, Commissioner Hayfield. You're muted, which?
The 14th would be an issue, but you could probably do without me.
Oh, I don't know about that. Everybody here is saying either, so that means that the 21st is looking like the winner.
Sounds good.
Okay, so September 21st, does anybody have a conflict with September 21st? Justin would like the poll to be sent out, and I think it would be good so that you all, it keeps it fresh in your memory, and you make sure that you get this onto your planner. So I'm gonna send out an email asking if the 21st is okay with everybody, and you will have an expiration date on letting me know if it's not, and we'll work from there. But it looks like the 21st is going to be the best option. So look for a really busy inbox today with the bylaws and the next meeting date. All right, thanks for everybody answering. Sean wants to know, will the next meeting be in person or virtual? I think that it would definitely be virtual unless the state of emergency for some reason expires, which is what allows you to meet virtually. So I would plan on it being virtual.
Indeed.
I don't see any other questions, Garrett, so I think you're good.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, indeed. I know many people are probably wondering, when we'll be getting back to in-person meetings. But again, as Lauren mentioned, it's really just up to when this state of emergency expires. And so we're taking it kind of step by step, each meeting one at a time to see when we can do that. But that is it for me right now. So I will then turn it over to our Commissioner Hayfield for her report.
Good morning, everyone. So nice to see you. Those faces I can see, that is. One thing we're learning as a result of all this is there are a number of people who have computers still that don't have cameras. So we've been working on that in our agency, and we're starting to see more and more faces in meetings. That's a good thing instead of just the names. So is Liz Smith out there?
Has Liz joined the call yet? She's probably about ready to, but she hasn't yet.
All right. She told me she was running a little late. She was playing pickleball. That's
Good.
what retired people do. Yes.
I just texted her and I'll let you know when I hear something.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Then I'll hold out a little bit. Just a secret, we were going to celebrate Liz and acknowledge her work with us. So I'll chat and then come back to that. So what can we talk about except the pandemic, right? That's what we talk about these days. Well, actually, there are a lot of other things that are keeping us all busy, but let me chat about the pandemic a little bit. So in March, so many months ago, we had our first discussion about the pandemic with the governor's office on March 13th. In some ways, that seems like yesterday, yet it's months ago. And Daniel's smiling. We all feel that way. On March 16th, we closed the doors to Wilson Workforce and Rehabilitation Center, and a number of our staff began teleworking. At that time, I sent an email out to our employees that I believe you all received as well. And I told them a quote that came to mind that has continued to be part of my mantra for the last many months. And it's this: life is not about waiting for the storm to end. It's about learning to dance in the rain. And then my other mantra has been leadership is the ability to hide your panic from others. Those two things have been in the back of my mind. And I have to say that on both of those cases, our leadership team has done an amazing job of keeping the train on the track and not showing panic, because, we all have been a bit panicked by this. And we have learned to dance in the rain. It's been pretty phenomenal. When you run an agency where the job is to serve people, and all of a sudden you can't meet with the people, it's just unbelievable. All of the processes and things we had to work through to figure out how to continue to serve people and how to continue to keep the organization running and pay the employees and get everyone cameras on their computers. And before that, making sure everyone had the ability to work at home and have VPN and to work within the rigid rules. I think I was saying something bad about Vita and I got choked up there. within those rigid security rules, which are important, and learning how to use Zoom and Google Meets, again, taking all of the security into consideration. We have had a pandemic resource team. We've had numerous conversations about when it's going to be the right time to be physically together, to open our doors to the public. But even with all of that, we really have, and Dale Batten, when she speaks, she'll talk about how we've been able to continue to provide services to our consumers and to, I don't know, really do a great job in this virtual world. Many of our employees we're seeing are more productive than ever. And though we miss our coffee conversations at the coffee pot, I think they used to say water cooler back in the day, or the water fountain. We do miss that. We miss the social interactions with all of our partners and face-to-face with you all. But we really have felt positive about a number of the changes. And I expect many of you have been in those same situations. We expect that when we do return to what will be a new normal, that we'll have many people who will continue to be teleworking. And as you know, we'll all be changed forever as a result of this. What else did I want to talk to you about? I particularly want to acknowledge our IT team, our communications team, our policy and planning, who have just done a great job figuring out how to have these very formal virtual meetings and following all the rules. It doesn't look like much on this screen, but you would be interested to know all that goes on behind the scenes to make it work. I don't know what happened there as I was saying that. Let's see, let me talk a little bit about our employee workforce. So we have about 1,300 employees at DARS. Maybe 500 of them are with disability determination services, so that they're funded through the Social Security Administration. They're 100% funded by the Social Security Administration. That administration is very antiquated, and they've never believed in teleworking. They've never allowed it, but aha, we're doing that now. And even to the point that our employees packed up their big desktop computers with their towers and all and took them home. And we really have seen a increase in production as a result of that. And you just think that we went from 500 people working in cubicles to probably 450 of them working at home right now. And it's been successful. So successful that the Social Security Administration has just asked us to hire 60 more employees to process claims from other states. So we'll be working on that right away. In the field program, just about everyone has been able to work remotely. We had some furloughs of drivers because we didn't have the need to transport individuals. But where we've had our greatest difficulty in continuing services is not a surprise to you all. It's at the Wilson Workforce and Rehabilitation Center. And I see that Tim Woodward is there in his rocking chair right now. There he is, he's waving. And Dee Dee will introduce him to you. He is our new director at the Wilson Workforce, our district director. And he came on, was only here a month and a half, and we closed the doors. So you can imagine how hard that has been. until June, we were able to keep our full Wilson workforce working remotely and some on campus. But in June, I believe, I think June 25th, or maybe it was July, we were forced to furlough people. And we furloughed, or people took annual leave, over 200 people at that time. At this point, we're looking at opening our doors in September, but that's tentative. So Dee Dee will probably talk about that a little bit more in her piece. That was probably the hardest thing any of us have ever had to do in our leadership, is furlough all of those employees. For the most part, they were very, very appreciative that we kept them on as long as we did. But as you know, we're a school, we serve people with disabilities, many with underlying medical conditions. And we just really need to be very, very careful before we open our doors back up. So you'll hear more about that, and feel free to ask questions of Dale Batten when she speaks. That was good. I passed that on to her, wasn't it? Okay, is Liz there yet?
Liz is on.
Liz is on? I can't see you, but that's okay. So the most important role I have today is to recognize and celebrate my good friend and colleague, Liz Smith. And you can't see her face on there, but she is there. Maybe you see the name. Oh, yep, there it is. As you know, today is Liz's last day meeting with us. And this is the day where she hands the baton on to Lauren, who seemed to grab it and run with it. So thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Liz, on behalf of the council and personally, I want to take just a few minutes to embarrass you. No, I mean to thank you for your service to the State Rehabilitation Council, and as such to Virginia's vocational rehabilitation program. Are you frowning or smiling? Nothing. Oh, she's on mute. You have to unmute her. I believe it is safe to say that you've been working with the State Rehab Council, and before that, the State Rehabilitation Advisory Council, for well over 20 years. And for the last 4 years, you've been our primary staff person to this council. You've supported the council through many, many state plan efforts. And I bet you're adding more manys to that. And you've always worked with them and done an amazing job of developing recommendations that improve services for the individuals that we work with. You've done a great job of interpreting the thoughts and combining that, the thoughts of the members, and combining that with the policies and the laws to be sure that the recommendations are relevant and definitely change the way we serve people. Your heart and your mind have been with the State Rehab Council, and I know you've said it's one of the greatest parts of your job during all of these years. A few other things. Then this is as much for the council as for Liz. But this council's advice is critical. And every year the council has a role in November that you look at the past and the past performance of the program, and you make recommendations for the future. And just since WIOA, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, the council, with Liz's leadership and assistance, have impacted policies. You've talked about, you pushed us actually to look at serving individuals outside of the order of selection, to work with those individuals who were at risk, imminent risk of losing their jobs. And there was a good bit of discussion as to whether that was a policy change that should occur or not. And with Liz working with you, you all became very well educated on the topic and pushed us to make that change in our policy. You also, with Liz's leadership, worked to look at the qualifications of our counselors, and under the WIOA, the law change, we could have really backed up and reduced our qualifications substantially. But the council worked with us and came up with policies so that we valued the CRC, but we also are now able to bring people in with other credentials. And I believe that in the long run, we have a richer workforce of counselors as a result of that. Also, there have been other areas that I see, Liz, that you've had an impact. You've helped us strengthen the values of the program by regularly pushing us to focus on the hours of work and the wages. You've worked extensively with the council and with Mabel and Barbara Burkett to revise the consumer satisfaction process and make it relevant. And under WIOA, you've regularly reinforced the role of the VR program and working closely with business leaders and assuring our clients don't just get a job, but that they also have a career pathway. And then finally, helping the council to understand accountability and measures that fall under WIOA, and keeping the VR program honest and keeping our values where they need to be to assure that we truly do serve people where their skills are and maximize their future and their outcomes. And I really think, Liz, that you might not know that you played a strong role in that, but you really have. I know that for me, your knowledge and skills of the law have kept me honest, have kept me in tune regularly of what the vocational rehabilitation program is all about. You've made your mark, Elizabeth Smith, and you will be missed. I wanted to personally thank you and do that on behalf of the council as well. And if anyone else would like to share anything.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, Garrett wanted to say something too, I believe. Garrett, are you still?
Indeed. I'll just keep my remarks short. First and foremost, I wish that we could be gathering in person to recognize you, Liz, as you so deserve to be. But I just want to thank you, Liz, so much for all that you've taught me, not just in my role as chairperson or on the executive committee, but just in trusting that someone who came on as the youngest person on the council, I may still be, I'm not sure, but could effectively lead this group and of great people, with all of whom are equally as capable. And this was my first board to ever be on, and I've been on several since then in the last 3 years, but I literally had no idea, how meetings were effectively ran or anything like that. My only other experience in life was in college fraternities, and those aren't really. So, and I'll just leave that at that. But Liz, just thank you so much for everything that you have taught me and everyone else. It is not gone without notice, and it will forever be remembered for all that you have done for this SRC. So thank you very much.
Hey, Liz, can you see us, or are you just on the phone?
I can see you all wonderfully, but you can't see me. And
that's great, because the council got you this lovely hydrangea to play it, hopefully, when you finish up all the work on the house on the Eastern Shore. This will be a little reminder.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And hydrangeas do very, very well on the Eastern Shore.
Well, that's good to know.
There's something about
Unless
the
it
soil
just picked
down
up
there.
a perfect one.
Yeah, there's something about the soil down there that they really thrive. So that's lovely. I truly appreciate it. Let me just, I'm sorry you can't see me. There might be some benefit to that. I just got off the pickleball court and I'm a little sweaty, quite frankly, from that. So maybe that's a good thing. But thank you, Kathy, for all the kind words, and Garrett for all the kind words. I truly appreciate it. You all do mean the world to me. It's so nice to see your faces. It's been so long. And I know that I am leaving the council in incredibly good hands with Lauren. I've told you all that by email. You know, I have a friend of mine who's retired like 6 different times, but this is number 2 for me, and that's it. No more retirements. That will be it. I am going to miss you all greatly. I probably will be paying attention to your website every once in a while, just to see what you're up to. And also that'll count towards people watching your website.
That's right.
Oh, people are coming in and actually looking at our website. But thank you all so much. I know this must be a very difficult meeting to have virtually. You know, I told Catherine when I decided to finally retire that I feel like a dinosaur. And I can tell you that I really feel like a dinosaur today, since I can see you and you can't see me. So I'm doing something wrong on this laptop. But you all take care. Keep up the good work. Keep doing what you do so well. Stay in touch with each other. FOIA compliant. Continue to support each other as you always have done. And thank you very, very much. I truly appreciate the kind words. I think my eyes did swell up just a little bit. It was hard to leave you all, to leave DARS the first time. It's even harder this time. Saying goodbye is very, 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 very hard for me. But I know it's the right thing to do. It's the right time. And I wish you all the best.
Liz, I'd just like to say thank you. And I'm so glad that you came in for your second retirement. I think you stand as a model to remind us your passion for making sure that the voice of the SRC is heard, and always reminding us of what it's all about. It's just so greatly appreciated. And I just can't say enough personally, thank you. And I've just enjoyed working with you so much. So you're going to be very, very much missed.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm looking at Jolie Fawn right now, and Garrett and Daniel, you're looking good, buddy. I know you've got a tough Aaron. Good to see you. Jenny, I see you. Justin. Hi, Dee Dee. Good to see everybody. Did you go to quorum today?
Yes.
All right, good job. Well, with that, I am going to sign off and let you all get back to your meeting. I know that Dee Dee's got some important information to share with you all. Kathy, I enjoyed hearing your comments, and congratulations again on your op-ed in the Richmond Times-Dispatch Sunday. That was wonderful.
Thank you for the note.
Well done. Take care, everybody. Stay well. Stay healthy.
Bye, Liz.
Thank you, Liz.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Liz. Okay, so this is Kathy back. That's the end of my comments for today. Do you all have any questions for me? Okay. All right, it's a new era. Onward.
Kathy, Tammy Burns just wrote in the chat, Kathy, your op-ed was wonderful.
Thank you, and I had some help from our wonderful communications folks. Yeah, that is some of my history there. It's so hard to think of myself as being in this vocational rehabilitation system and the ADA. So the VR program is 100 years old, and I've been in it 40. So have you, Dee Dee. So, I mean, it's really bizarre to think that when I was working through that. And the ADA and a number of people wrote to me over the weekend and said, I didn't know the history of the Virginians with Disabilities Act, that it was a precursor to the ADA. So that's something for Virginia to be proud of. Anyway, for those of you who may not read the Richmond Times Dispatch, we'll send that article to you. Thank you all.
Great.
All right. Onward.
Onward.
All right, Garrett.
Onward indeed. Thank you very much, Commissioner Hayfield, for the work. Now we move on to Miss Dee Dee Batten with her DRS report. So, Dee Dee,
Good morning, Garrett and SRC members. And Kathy, I ditto everything you said about Liz, even though she's off the phone. She was truly a leader in this council and a help to me as in my old position, now as the Deputy Commissioner for what we're doing in DRS. So kudos to Liz. I've already told her that. The article was wonderful, Kathy. Although I do not take the Richmond Times Dispatch, I did get a copy of it. So that was very warming and history in the making, and good to read the information. Thanks for acknowledging our former Commissioner, Jim Rothrock, and all that he did in that process for Virginia. His advocacy for people with disabilities. So today I'm going to...
Enough, Dee Dee? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just got a email from Jim. Greatly appreciate the mention in your timely editorial on Saturday. Nice job on promoting your program and agency. Keep up the good work. And as Justin Dart, not you, Justin, sorry. As Justin Dart said, lead on.
Yep, that was great. So Timothy Woodward, the last time we met, Tim was hired, I believe, but not on board. So Tim is here with us today, and I think he's raised his hand or waved at you once before, but Tim, wave at him again. And as I speak to Wilson, feel free to unmute yourself and speak with us. Tim will be officially kind of taking over the WWRC updates at our next meeting. I just decided not to put him on the spot this time, but then invited him to be on the call and to see your wonderful faces and to hear what the State Rehab Council is all about. So the next time he will probably be a person will be asked to kind of present himself and introduce himself to you. He comes from the Education Department, former superintendent, excellent employee for our Wilson Workforce and Rehabilitation Center. Interesting enough, Tim was hired in February. Then we went right into COVID-19 in March. As Kathy mentioned, we sent all of our clients from WWRC home March the 13th. So Tim was on board for maybe a month, Tim. Just so far back, I can't even remember. But anyway, he wasn't on board very long. But in the process now, he's had to help us develop a reopening plan, help us develop how to help our staff at WWRC maintain employment. And then it got to the point in June that we just could not continue to try to support our staff that were not working with clients day to day. We exhausted all the work we could have them do. And then they were actually had to look at, as Kathy already mentioned, furloughing about 150 employees. Of that total, and they're full-time employees, our wage employees is about 67 people, and they actually stopped working as well. But of the 150 that we had, full-time employees that could be furloughed, we actually furloughed 99 of them. and then the others in some way used their leave so they would not have to be furloughed. So we did as much as we could. Tim gets the credit for all of that with his executive cabinet and trying to make it as easy as possible for our staff to continue to work as long as we could from March to June. And then in June, we just decided, because we were not opening back up in June, that we had to do something with the staff that just did not have any more work to do. And this was not only our VR programs, this was our facilities program of staff as well. So those that worked on the grounds and worked all our facilities, there were a few in that 150 count that I mentioned to you in the 99. So Tim has decided on a targeted date of when we may bring people back, meaning staff and then clientele. The letter that we used for furlough, and that Tim wrote to the staff, indicated that it would be until August the 22nd. Well, each day we're looking at the stats and we're hoping that that will be the last day. Tim has a plan with his executive cabinet to start services delivery, bringing clients back into the center. If all goes well, September the 14th is the first day to bring back about 130 clients. We serve on any given day, I think the stat said 120 to 150 per day. So they're kind of cutting, it's 300 clients at any given time on campus per day. So they're looking at bringing back people that left, that were in their programs, and letting them come back to finish out the programs. We as a team have decided that we will use some of the college thinking that if they do come back, this group, they come back in November when they go out for Thanksgiving, they will not return, and the next cohort will come back after the holidays. If all stands and the numbers continue to decline. If the numbers do not decline and they continue to increase, then we will be looking at another plan, and we would definitely keep you as a council posted. So thanks for your support and all of that. As Kathy mentioned, in the field services, we had a couple of wage positions, and of course they are not working any longer. And most of them, we only had 2 drivers. One was a wage position and one was a full-time position. The full-time position person, similar to our WWRC staff, they're using leave to not be furloughed as they work the hours that they can for the service that we can have them do. But the wage position was furloughed for our drivers. They're the only 2 positions in the field that we actually had furlough. I will say for Wilson, some of the staff that was not furloughed, we actually have them there working with us now in the field offices. And one of those program areas is our therapy department. Our OTs, PT, therapy departments are still working with us in our field program. So that was a group that we can kind of transition, that they didn't have to be furloughed, as well as they're doing a lot of virtual services and planning for work hardening programs when we return to WWRC. We also did not furlough our vocational evaluators. There are staff that do career assessment for our clientele. We had a shortage in the offices in the field programs that we needed more assessment counselors. So we didn't furlough the vocational evaluators team at WWRC. They're working with us in the field now. So that was a plus for us, as well as one of our external training staff who actually works with our job placement team in the Hampton Roads office. So whenever and wherever possible, we can use the staff to help us in the field program. We did not furlough that staff as well. So Tim and the executive cabinet did as much as they could to help minimize the load of people not having to be furloughed. So thank you, Tim, for that. Anything on that, just the furlough piece you want to mention, Tim? I'm going to talk a little bit about the virtual services that you all are offering now and the impact from our financial standpoint.
Well, I just want to say hi to everybody. And Kathy talked about dancing in the rain. I didn't realize how quickly I'd start dancing in the rain once I came on board. But I appreciate the compliment. But I got to tell you, everything I've done has been a total team effort. From the support from the commissioner's office to the deputy commissioner, the secretary, it's been a total team effort. My executive staff at WWRC Valley District has been wonderful, and it's been a total team effort. And it is true. The hardest thing you ever have to do is to furlough an employee. That's extremely difficult. I served 2 stints as superintendent of schools and went through a couple of teacher strikes and different things, and that was difficult. But to have to tell someone that they're not employed at this moment is a very, very difficult thing. And that was a tough day. And I really needed the support that I got to get through that. And I certainly appreciate that.
Thanks, Tim. So some of the things that we were able to continue at WWRC through virtual services was things like the assistive technology evaluation. So they work with our assistive technology team in the field, as well as those that are housed at WWRC. Drivers evaluations we're still able to do. Learners permitted instructions we're able to do. Occupational therapist evaluations and treatments we're still able to do. Speech and language pathology type services we're offering. And as I said, the vocational evaluation team at WWRC are going to work with us in our field to do referrals that normally would be evaluated for WWRC for assessments. Go to WWRC. The evaluation team at WWRC is going to do that for the field offices. Referrals. So we're actually blending services, and that's one of the things that we wanted to do as WWRC Valley District becoming part of the VR program. So because of COVID-19, we kind of put that practice into place probably sooner than we anticipated, because now we are at blended services. Our counseling department, all the staff are not at the center, but all the counselors in the field are working directly with the counseling management team at WWRC to make sure that we are transitioning our students back in the center, and the counseling team at the center and in the field, we work collaboratively together to make that have a smooth transition. So that's just a piece of information. In September, when we had the meeting, we would actually inform you and roll out to you the plan of WWRC Valley District combination of VR services for both WWRC and the field office. It's a little bit more to kind of tell you today, but that's forthcoming. So out of the virtual services, we've been able to do 68 virtual services for 53 consumers. We actively have 128 cases or services, 295 active cases that we're still providing services to. And some of them are individuals in vocational training, and 72 of them are our students, our PERT students, prep students, those that are preparing to go into training programs. So services are still being provided even at WWRC. Money at WWRC. So a big part of our funding at WWRC helps support in the field our pre-employment transition services. Because we don't have students there, when we calculate the dollars of how we support that program, pre-employment transition services, we actually would average about $300,000 a month in the services they would deliver to our students. Because the students have not been there since March, they're not there through the summer, we're losing that $300,000 contribution from WWRC. But that's okay, because that means that we're in the agency are still being able to provide services. We're just not using those dollars credit towards pre-employment transition services. And now let's go down, as Kathy said, we learned real fast how to dance in the rain. But the field program, DRS, we actually, around the same time that Wilson sent the students home, or the clients home, students and adults, we actually stopped our face-to-face in-house services in all of our field offices around the state. We did not stop providing services. We actually just stopped face-to-face in-house services. So we went truly to virtual services. That was through Zoom contact, emails, texts, letters. Our transition counselors, pre-employment transition type counselors, actually did some creative things, and Dawn, you can speak to that if you choose to do so, on like YouTube for our pre-employment transition students that were in high school and still providing services for them getting ready to come to VR. All of our project search activities, that was an internship program through the school program for DARS. We actually ended that in March. They had probably started internships in most of the schools and were entering to their third internship or may have ended the third internship. We stopped that program. And before school closed, when school went to virtual services, we stopped that program. Many schools did it. We didn't have to do it. So for our students in transition, we actually are still working with them through virtual services. For the summer program, we were doing some work-based learning. We decided in the spring that we would not do any of that through the end of the school year. There are just a few going to be happening virtually during the summer months, and some are not happening at all. If an employer really wanted to help or wanted a student to come in and do some work-based learning, we're not stopping that, but we're not actually promoting that service or advocating for an employee to do that based on COVID-19 and what's happening right now. So just a piece of information for that for you all. Virtual services are pre-S. And Tammy is on the call, I'm sure at Burns. So one of those organizations such as Tammy's was so creative, and I want to thank you on this call, Tammy, for your creativity and still delivering services to our students, which is a planned service face-to-face. And she and her organization decided we could do that virtually. So thank you, Tammy, for continuing to do that service. But programs like that, when we could change it to virtual services, we are doing that, even for the summer months for our students in transition. So I wanted to let you know that that is something that's still happening. So we haven't stopped providing services. We haven't stopped doing job placement activities. We haven't stopped place and train if somebody is actually in a job and we need to try to train them in the job. We haven't stopped those services. To date, as of just last week, we had between our vocational services, vocational clients and our pre-employment clients, a total of 18,994 clients on the books, and 10,000 of those 646 are in plan services and beyond. So that means they're either working or they're in a plan. Of that number, 6,088 are our students with disabilities. So we still have a big number of students with disabilities that we're trying to reach out to. When we stop face-to-face services, when schools stop, we did have a good number of students that were continuing to connect with us. Some of the difficulties or challenges that we had were in some of our rural areas. Some of the students' bandwidth for internet services were very limited, or students just decided they didn't want to participate for whatever reason. Some of the great things that happened was that because we were all virtual and having to talk to them at home, the parents were very involved. So we had a more collective connection with the parents in the planning process, which was a great success. As Kathy said, some of the staff we having to work now, all our staff are teleworking pretty much. Some of the staff we go to the office to process bills, and we have to do it in that manner. Although our fiscal office also has changed the idea that they couldn't do anything but paper copies for all our billing has changed to a electronic format. So we do still go in the office periodically, but pretty much we are all virtually teleworking from home. We've had a couple of cases that had positive testing in our field offices from a staff member that may have been in the office or from a staff member family member. So for that reason, we have had to shut the office down and deep clean the office. So when we talk about reopening, I'll tell you why we're not in a rush to do that. That is one of them, because we just want to be safe for everybody involved. Our plans and our successful closures to date, we actually now have closed 1,745 successful rehab closures, and we have written 4,812 plans. Actually, our plans to date has already exceeded our plans for last year when we didn't have COVID-19. So we're actually writing more plans, and as we all say, working at home has been an advantage because we're not walking the halls, having coffee. So work is actually being completed. Some of the things that you already know around every news report you're seeing, though, is that as parents are at home with young children and students, they have had to adjust to having students at home, doing their own work, and trying to help their students finish their year out with virtual school learning. And so that has been a challenge for our staff. Dawn can attest to that. But I want to give kudos to the DRS counselors in the agency, to the staff that have had to do multiple tasks and being a mother, a teacher, a parent, and still being able to produce for our clientele and help us get our clients to work and write plans for them to have successful rehab closures. So thanks to the staff for that. Barbara Burkett gives us great data each day, each week. And one thing that came out just this past week was that just if you look at 2019, July, 1 week, July 17th to July 23rd, compared to July 17th, 23rd, 2020, our applications have only decreased by 88. Our plans have only decreased by 17 from 2019, same week to 2020, same week. Our authorizations have decreased significantly because we're not paying for our vendors to do the services. We're doing more in-house services. Our in-house services from 2019 to 2020 have only decreased 541 services. But overall, we're doing more in-house services on an average than we have been because we're actually not paying for those services from our employment service organizations. So that's just a little bit of data on where we are in performance for DRS. We have new workforce innovation opportunity act measures that we're all up against now, opposed to just the successful closures and plans. So we look at two areas: percentage of employed and people employed second quarter after post exit, and those that are employed fourth quarter after exit. Our percentage has continued to look good compared to where we need to be. We're 54% currently for people that are employed second quarter post exit, and we're at 53.8% for those that are employed fourth quarter after exit. When we first looked at that number, when Barbara first started doing the data for us, fourth quarter was not looking good at all. It was almost like 19%. So you can see that we have really been able to see good data after we've been into this type of measurement for now over a year or so. Our second quarter post-exit earnings are $3,104, and that's pretty steady. I think we've increased a little bit on that from the past. So that just goes to show that we still are doing great planning for our clientele and that they are actually staying employed. So that's a very good plus. I have to tell you though, a lot of our clientele that were in some of our employment arenas were laid off. And so we're trying to get them back into our service delivery areas as soon as possible. And one thing that we're looking at in the field program is how do we work with the population that were furloughed and now they may actually been laid off, but because they have skills and they've been in the work environment, how do we make sure that we get them back as soon as possible, get them planned so they can be ready to go back and find employment as soon as possible and not be like put on the, we do everything by application date, not have them at the back of the line. That's a policy thing we have to look at though, so we can't just automatically do it, but that is something we're thinking about. How do we serve those that are really had work, got laid off because of COVID-19, and now really have work skills, but let's try to get them back to work as soon as possible. So we're really, as a team effort, trying to look at that. We're also in the division looking at what services are we currently doing virtually that we will continue virtually. And that's the same for WWRC. What we're doing good now virtually, let's not change it and go back to having to do all face-to-face if it's working for everybody. Let's incorporate that as part of our process moving forward. So we're kind of excited about that type of dancing. Let's talk a little bit about reopening plans. So I told you about WWRC, the tentative date for bringing that 130 clients back. Those will have some that just need some training for 2 or 3 weeks and take tests for certification purposes. Our CNAs or that nursing program, the way we have it set up, we have to have a nurse to proctor the test. So we can't do it virtually. So people have to go back to finish that program. But those are the kind of programs we're bringing people back for a couple of weeks to do those kind of continued training so they can go out and get their certification and continue to work. And then if that works, then we talk about September the 10th. Tim has an excellent plan for how he's going to bring people back, where we typically have roommates in the dormitories. We're talking about one person per room. We'll have PPE and all the necessary equipment to make sure that people are safe and sound. The last conversation we just had, I'll tell you, Friday was, I said to our commissioner, if we still have a uptick in certain areas of the state, and we do open WWRC, the targeted date, we will not bring back those persons that are in the hotspot areas. I just think it needs to be safe for our clientele, for everybody involved. So as this is an evolving process, we'll keep you posted as we send out any communication about how we're going to open. We'll make sure, as Liz has always told us, to make sure you all are first giving information. So we will make sure we continue to do that. For the field program, we're going to open up in stages. We didn't want to call it phases because that's part of Governor Northam's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And we talked about phases and we didn't want to confuse it with his phase terminology. So we're going to call it stages. So stage A would basically be that we'll bring staff back. Some staff, as I said, are already working in the offices periodically, but we're talking about now staggering staff, developing a plan. We do have, as Kathy told you before, a reopening task group that I'm involved in. And we're looking at how, for my division, and how we stagger staff coming back into the office. So that would be the first stage. And I looked at maybe, I said now, the end of August. So that's only like 4 weeks away, believe it or not. So we're gonna have to figure that out. That's still what we're thinking about. And then stage 2 would actually be bringing clients back in face to face. And I was thinking about the same time that Tim's talking about, somewhere around the middle of September. And then the last stage, stage C, would actually be having our vendors come back into our offices to see staff. We have psychologists that lease some of our office space, or just we give it freely to them to use our space for testing. They would be the third group to come back into our offices face to face. We actually ordering PPE for all of our staff. We are thinking about what we need in terms of space for people to be social distancing, even when we do open back up offices. The same for WWRC. Looking at everything that's kind of necessary to make sure that everybody is safe and that we are able to bring people back. So I think that's all I have to say. I'm sure you may have questions for me. So why don't I kind of open it up to any questions you all may have for me right now.
This is Jenny. I have a question.
Okay.
The PPE that you're planning to use for the staff at WWRC, will any of them have the options for a clear mask or shield for users to be able, ASL users to be able to see, because a good portion of the grammar in ASL is on the face?
Yes, Jenny, you're great question. We actually have already ordered, and you know Mary Nunley, who's definitely on top of everything, our deaf and hard of hearing coordinator in our agency. We've ordered clear masks for our staff, as well as for our managers that will be working with clients that come to the offices, as well as clear masks. We're looking at how many and how much we can order for our clientele. We're ordering masks for regular clients, or clients of not deaf and hard of hearing as well. So we're doing cloth masks for our staff, some paper masks for clients. So for our deaf and hard of hearing population, we're ordering clear masks, facial masks, so they can actually see anybody they're talking to in the office. We actually looking at, for different reasons, even some face shields for the deaf and hard of hearing population.
Perfect.
Other questions?
We have a question that's come up in chat from Justin. Say there's a family who has a disabled child and needs virtual learning for the upcoming school year. Is there a way DARS can assist in paying for the internet service if the client parent cannot afford internet?
So Justin, I'm thinking you're saying it's a student that's in a regular school setting program, but the student is disabled. If that's the case, then yes, we'll be working with the school system to see what they may have in place for how they support students in this virtual environment. If it's a situation where we are needing to help that student and they're part of our, they're in our system there, if they're not a VR consumer, actually a VR client, we can't pay for services that they're not a client. So if they're a student that's not already a VR customer, we will work more proactively with the school system to try to help them with resources that may be able to be possible. Because if they're not on our rolls, we can't pay for that service. But if they're on our rolls, they're a VR consumer, and we see that's a need as a plan for them and their success, then we would not say no to something like that. We just have to kind of work out the details.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sure. What other questions?
This is Jenny again.
Okay.
When we're talking about different services that are provided at WWRC and through DARS, do you have any data on the number of clients who wouldn't be able to access online or virtual services if they're, because of the lack of equipment at home? Do you have any data on that?
Jenny, I would say it's too early for us to figure that out yet. We only would know from March to now, and we haven't done anything yet to say who was not able to be connected. Something we probably would look at moving forward, particularly if we continue virtual planning, virtual services. I will say that we do have a couple of committees in the agency already looking at virtual services. And I'm not sure if we've try to dig into any stats. I don't think so yet. But moving forward, we will have to kind of evaluate that, because that will determine whether it's a valuable service to continue or if it's not going to be possible in some of our rural areas for those that do not have easy access to internet bandwidth. So we don't have that yet because it just started April or March. So we will probably look at that in the future moving forward. We are, though, already coding in our system what's virtual services. So we will be able to pull that data at some point moving forward. Other questions? Yes. Is that Joe?
Hi, I'm Joe LaFawn. You said that you was going to look at high risk areas as far as bringing the students back to Woodrow Wilson. Well, are you going to look at staff as well?
Now, you mean staff in terms of if they're from, let's go with Hampton Roads, we know that's a high area right now. Are you talking about will we not bring staff back in those offices yet, or just bring them to Wilson?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, when we say that high risk area, people will not come, that means that the drivers won't bring anybody, the clients will not come, and you're right, the councils won't come either, until we're safe and know that that area is fine. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Other questions, comments?
I have one more question.
Okay.
Say like with my circumstances with work and they're handing out PPE, say that we have a client that his company is handing out PPE, but say for his position, he runs through it enough. Will DARS fund that client to get more PPE that the employee won't?
Again, Justin, yep, we can actually, they would have to let us know they need it, but if they're a closed case, then yeah, we want to make sure anybody that has to try to make sure they maintain their employment and there's a risk of leaving the job if they don't have it. We provide services after you're closed for that purpose. If the client needs a certain piece of PPE and the employer will not provide the equipment, then certainly they can come back to our agency and talk about what it is they need to maintain employment.
Thank you.
Our rehab engineers and our occupational therapy team weekly do a hump day, Wednesday reporting out, and they give us great resources that's available for staff and for clients. And so we could even start someplace like that if there was a need, talk to that team. And sometimes the accommodation is so minimum, we may be able to even design it in-house.
Thanks.
Other questions? Lauren, is anything else that I thought we might need to discuss today that I may not have already?
I don't think so. I think that's a great overview and lots of good numbers.
Feel free to reach out to me as we go through this process again. I will be mindful that as we develop the plans, that the draft plan is in draft form as we do the final plan for WWRC and for the DRS program in the field. I will make sure that Lauren gets a copy to send out to all of you so you will know. Anything you think we need to be concentrating on, as Liz has always done in the past, Catherine and Leah will work with you and Lauren, but let me know if there's something that we need to start targeting. And thank you so much for seeing all of you today.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Dee Dee Batten, for such a detailed report and all that you are doing in this time of uncertainty for everyone. Very much appreciate it. So now we will move into our member reports. My thought would be kind of to have Lauren, she kind of did with introductions, to have kind of run down the members and the who are on the call. And I will go last if that is okay with everyone. So yeah, if we want to go right now with
Yeah, we can do that. That's probably the best way to do this. So I'm using the roll call, which is alphabetical, but Garrett's asked to go last. So we'll let him just this once. I'm just kidding, Garrett. No, you're good. You're good. We'll start with Aaron. Aaron, did you have anything that you would like to report on? Is Aaron still with us? Yes. Mm-hmm. Aaron, I'm not sure if you're speaking. We don't hear anything, but you are unmuted.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, we got you now.
I apologize. When I hit the unmute button, it kind of froze up a little bit there. So just as a quick report for us, we, just like everybody else has mentioned today, I think Commissioner Hayfield's quote about learning to dance in the rain is very appropriate for what we're experiencing in the business world. Very quickly in March, we, Randstad as an organization, we shifted our gears to creating virtual onboarding processes. So I was very happy to hear from Dee Dee that DARS is doing the same. That's awesome. One of our big challenges as of late has just been connecting with our partners, and a lot of them are still not back online for us to be able to just talk about the different job openings that we have available. Fortunately, many of the businesses that I service were critical, essential businesses, so we did not shut down, but we did see a lot of our community partners' services had to be halted due to COVID. So we are coming back online. We've shifted our gears also in terms of worksite safety to ensure that, COVID PPE, COVID appropriate PPE, social distancing, sanitization stations are everywhere. So part of my job has been making sure that we're all aligned, our clients are aligned in doing that. So we're very happy to report that many of our clients very quickly shifted gears to do things that aligned with what we were looking for in terms of adjusting workspaces, adjusting break rooms, making sure that there were hand washing stations, that there was appropriate PPE available for all of our talent and their workforce, whether that was changing shift times or making other accommodations, in areas where there have been needs for improvement. We've been working on that. So just a very, very interesting 2020, but I think we've learned a lot, and we're poised to be able to offer employment. There are a ton of employment opportunities out there. I think the biggest challenge right now is just connecting with our community partners again and groups like DARS as they come back online.
Thank you so much. It's good to hear that people are coming back online, so. All right, Tammy?
Hey guys, let me turn my video on, sorry. I'm way down here. Good morning. So at PC, we had already been working remotely across the state before COVID. So that actually was a benefit for us, I think, because we didn't have to learn processes to do that. We have, we do a lot of trainings, and we're used to traveling the state doing that. And so, COVID has changed that somewhat or a lot. We were able to shift our trainings very quickly, though, to online because we had already been used to doing some of that. So we have still conducted trainings around the state, big trainings. We just completed an IEP one that had almost 400 folks in it. So that was really exciting. We continue to do our Transition University, which has always been online. And that continues to have anywhere from 200 to 500 people on a given rotation. We're opening that up again in the fall, so we expect that to continue. One of the things we do as well is we take phone calls and do free consults for families. And a lot of times it's teachers who call us as well. And we are getting a lot of phone calls, as you can imagine, about IEPs, about school reopenings, about services in general, Medicaid waivers, Social Security, how that's all working and not working, and those type of things. So we continue to stay busy with that. And as Dee Dee mentioned, we did shift our pre-ETS offerings to virtual, and we're kind of doing a virtual hybrid, I would call it, where we're doing some virtual training where the kids get mailed a handbook to go through, and the training is very geared towards students and accessible. And then every Tuesday night, I'm online on Zoom with a group of students doing the teaching live, I guess, as live as that can be. And we've just finished our second session, getting ready to open our third session, and that's been going really well. We're having about 20 students, somewhere between 20 and 25 students in a session, and most of them are doing all the work and completing it. And we're also getting to connect with their families, and that's been really great as well. So that's what we're up to, and appreciate all that you guys are doing as well.
Thank you so much, and thanks for sending things for the newsletter. I really appreciate that. I hope you all keep in mind that you can send things for the newsletter. So send them my way. All right, Pam?
Hey, everybody. I just want to say, hey, I don't really have anything to report, except there's just really been an uptick in business for the Centers for Independent Living, I think. And for me personally, it's been, I know it has been for everybody, but I've told everybody that I'm an extrovert. And part of my therapy post spinal cord injury, everything has just been being able to see people, get out and do things. So it's been a personal challenge. I think the agency has done very well. And again, just things are busier than usual. It seems surprisingly that it's made everything not harder in terms of the work, but it's created more work, I guess I would say. But specifically, I don't have anything to report. But good to see everybody.
It's good to see you, Pam. Thank you. Daniel Irwin.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Daniel Irwin, I'm with the Virginia Department of Education. We've been busy, and so just a couple of things to share related to kind of broad stuff. We've got return to school guidelines up online, and I'll share the link to that in the chat. There's a bunch of resources there related to what it looks like to return to school, what we're requiring of divisions for their learning plans and health plans. And so, yeah, I'll send a link to that. Some of the work we've been doing related to kind of getting back to school is really trying to think around what it's actually going to look like. And then what it's going to look like for our students with disabilities. And so our AT network has been doing a lot of work with developing resources for teachers to really address how to ensure that their instruction is accessible, either online or not. But really looking at accessibility features of learning platforms, of Word documents, of PowerPoint presentations, just to make sure that when they are providing online instruction, kids can access it. Part of the tricky part is that, divisions have to follow kind of the state phase guidelines, but essentially are developing their own plans for what it's going to look like to return to school. And so there's these huge discrepancies between what divisions are planning to do as far as going live, doing a hybrid program, or doing an all virtual program. And so trying to keep up with all of that and kind of provide and really target resources where we need to do that, either through our TTACs or Autism Center for Excellence. Recently, we have partnered with the National Technical Assistance Center for Transition to participate in their capacity building virtual institute. And so we've got folks from VDOE, DARS, our TTACs, Pete Tammy's on that, DBVI, et cetera, to really look at how we can partner together to look at improving outcomes for individuals, young adults with disabilities, and really transition out of high school into the real world. So we've met a couple of times. We've got a plan moving forward to really look at what transition assessment should and could look like, and really trying to operationalize that so that lines of communication are, I guess, opened up, freed up, or more consistent between agencies, so that we're all kind of looking at the same thing. So that's been really rewarding. As far as kind of communication from the department goes, we've adopted Gov Delivery as a means for reaching out to the field. I'll add a link to this as well. There's a variety of, it's just a platform for getting news out. And so we've got ones that are coming from the superintendent. We've got ones that are specific to special education, parent centered resources. But really it's a sign up to get newsletters about upcoming trainings or resources that are becoming available. They all come out. You can subscribe to any number of them as you see fit. But that's really where the department's going as far as how we're trying to get more communication out to more individuals. So I'll include a link to that as well. And so you can sort of browse the menu of available newsletters you can sign up for. CARES Act funding. Justin, this might answer your question regarding internet access. Let me find it. So the state was given like $240 almost $1 million through the, what's it called? Coronavirus Aid Relief Economic something. And most of that goes directly to the divisions. About 90% of that goes to divisions to figure out how they want to spend it. And so for divisions that might be more rural or have less accessible or less internet access, that might be how they choose to spend some of that money. Additionally, about 10% of that money stayed with the Department of Ed, and we're going to issue, not me, issue competitive grants to folks who want to do something extra, right? So specifically related to special ed services and supports, school-based mental health, social emotional learning, cleaning and sanitizing supplies, instructional delivery supports, which is what I would imagine if you're providing instruction online, base level of support is being able to get online, and some other stuff. So that might be a way, and a lot of this is happening at the local level. And so if you're working with somebody like that, it's really best to go directly to, as far as school stuff goes, directly to their division to talk about how they're supporting that and what their learning platforms are going to look like. I guess that's kind of it for us now. It's grant season, so we're moving ahead with funding our projects going into next year, which is very exciting. But yeah, that's kind of it from me.
Thank you so much. Jolie Fawn.
Hi, it's Joe LaFawn from the Disability Law Center of Virginia. Let's see. So, of course, our office went to from home. And so when COVID happened, that sparked our office to add just more, special work plans to our different units to make sure that persons with disabilities were not just left out of things like, so one of the things that I added to my work was to look into see how colleges and universities was working with students with disabilities, strictly online courses. So, I just looked at that when voting happened and was just encouraging absentee ballots. We rushed to write letters to the local and to the Virginia Board of Elections to check to see, okay, what's happening with persons with disabilities to when you're just encouraging absentee ballots. So we rushed to make sure of that when to make sure, what is the alternative method of working with students, with persons with disabilities in that aspect. When it comes to strictly not having services for mental health units, worked with that, so there's things like that that added to our work to make sure that that there's no gaps. Our office, just added to our work on top of what we already have to do based on our federal funds. And now with masks, we get calls from persons with disabilities that, cannot use masks. So we are working and implementing and seeing what we can do as far as helping people to understand why this is an issue, especially in facilities. It could be, their persons do not understand why they have to wear a mask, things of that nature due to the reason that they're in their mental health capacity. So we're trying to help with that. So things like that our office is just adding to our work based on COVID. We have briefings every Tuesday to just go through our different units to find out what's new, what's different, what do we have to do, what do we have to change, what do we have to adjust with, just based on the needs of persons with disabilities. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Jolie Fawn. Daniel Lufkin. Let me make sure. I had him checked and now I have him unchecked. He's not on. So Dawn.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dawn Mosley with the Department for Aging and Rehab Services. I am a pre-employment counselor in the Capital District. For us, we've still been, as Dee Dee has said, been providing services. When everything happened in March, we were able to switch some school services over that we were providing. We're able to provide them virtually until the end of the school year. We were able to still do some pre-planning for the school year coming up with some programs as far as program selection and interviews. We were able to hold them virtually. I feel like for some of the students, they liked it better. They were able to do their interview at home, comfortable, didn't kind of feel intimidated sitting around the table with us as they normally would have. So they were able to do it from home virtually. We have been doing a good number of virtual services across the state, whether that's been through Zoom meetings or Google Meets or even phone calls. We also have been doing some mailings, like we've come up with some homework packets where we've mailed some of those out to the students and then touch base with the families on assistance with going over that activity or having them complete the activity with the student and then just talking about the results of the activities. Doing some career exploration over the phone. I know I've done some meetings, Google Meets, where we've done interest inventories over the phone. So I've sent them a copy of the interest inventory to have beforehand, and then they completed it with me by phone. We've worked with Wilson Workforce Center. We did our first virtual pre-ETS career day earlier this month. We were able to serve about, I think we had about 18 or 19 students that participated in between the pre-employment counselors and some Wilson staff. We were able to do some different sessions on job exploration, self-advocacy, independent living skills, about social distancing, and some of the anxiety that came about with that and keeping themselves connected still. So we were able to do that and was able to send out some information to them to kind of just keep them connected, gave them some homework. We have seen a good number of students and families that, just with this pandemic and other things going on with layoffs and other things, that have been overwhelmed and have decided to pull back. We as staff are doing monthly calls across the state just to kind of keep everyone engaged and sharing ideas and talking about best practices, that type of thing. Another big thanks to Tammy because their Pete C youth empowerment sessions have been great. I think I have referred at least 10 students, and I know some of them are signed up, I think, for later sessions, but I think I've already had 5 participate in the 2 sessions that she's already done. So that has been wonderful for them. We are also trying to work with our schools now as they're planning what their reopening plan is going to look like and starting to get that information out. Have those conversations with them about, how to bring us in. How does it look for pre-ET services for this upcoming school year, whether you're doing a hybrid plan, whether you're virtual, whether you're in person, what are the parameters around the reopening plan that you have? How can we connect with you virtually? If you're doing hybrid and you're doing in person, what are your restrictions with partners being able to be on site? Are we going to be able to be on site? Those types of things. We're still talking with schools about that and gathering that information so we can plan. And as Dee Dee mentioned, we do have work groups going on talking about our virtual services for us, our virtual services in regards to our ESOs for being able to provide virtual services. So just looking at those things moving forward. That's all that I have.
All right, thanks, Dawn. Madeline, you're up.
Madeline Nunley here. I don't really have anything to report. Been kind of quiet on my end. Just, for the counselors and the DARS staff, those that you have like the pre-ETS kids and any college students, just check in with them because as someone on the college ends of things, it's been frustrating as someone with a disability not making sure they get their accommodations. So as someone who's a big advocate, reaching out to some classmates, making sure they get their accommodations and stuff, and And I'm noticing that there's a lot of gaps happening because, you know, it all happened so quickly and you didn't have the infrastructure set up. So, you know, it's just kind of my like, hey, you know, make sure everyone's okay and they have the support they need. They have whatever the heck they need. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Madeline. That's a good reminder. Definitely keep checking in. Justin?
All right, so I've got a few things, and hello to everybody. First, with me working for the city, they have basically had me working from home since March 16th when everything else shut down. Some of the more essential employees are going in for a half a day now. They're working from 12 to 8. I mean, from 8 to 12, I'm sorry, and then going home for the rest of the day. As of right now, the city, for their regulations that they have for their employees, people with disabilities and have certain ailments, they are basically saying that they're going to be working from home permanently until there's either a vaccine or they can make everything fully accessible for people with disabilities and COVID proof. So I appreciate them on that and working with anybody with disabilities to make sure that they're safe. Secondly, I'm a mentor at the United Spinal Association, and they received a grant throughout all of this through COVID, and they were able to give out supplies to people with spinal cord injuries, whether it was catheters or anything they needed. They were able to provide that to people that couldn't get out to their suppliers or were scared to get shipments because of COVID. They were able to get those taken care of to a lot of good people. Thirdly, I've joined a committee for Dominion Raceway that's up in Thornburg. And right now it's currently on hold, but they have just built a new racetrack up there. And they've had me come on to give them feedback on their ADA compliance. So from the inside and outside standpoint of being a fan there, being part of a race team, and just knowing certain things with ADA compliance and things that they can do to make their facility better for people in wheelchairs, they've asked me to come in on that. So once COVID goes away, I'll be involved with that 100%. And then lastly, I've gotten in touch with the King William County High School down here where I graduated from, and we did a project for the graduates where we got all the graduates' yard signs for the class of 2020. I was lucky enough to get in good connections with the principal, the school board, and the superintendent, and they're going to have me come back this year to talk to their kids in their graphic design and I think in their woodworking class to give them an idea of what it's like to have a career in design, in commercial and residential design. So I'll be giving you guys feedback on that, and I'll definitely be letting them know about Woodrow and the things I've been through with DARS if there's anybody that needs those services.
That's all really exciting. Thanks, Justin.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Most of it's, good thing about it, most of it's inside, so I don't have to deal with the heat.
That is a plus. It is hot out there, so.
Yeah.
All right, Sean.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sean Nutt with the Statewide Independent Living Council. We just have a few quick things to report on. You know, just like everyone else, our policy pushed heavily when COVID hit. And the interesting thing, you know, one of the things that we do is we coordinate the state plan for independent living every 3 years. And this year had been a 4-year term instead of a 3-year because we were waiting for guidelines from the feds, ACL, and that was completely not related to COVID at all. So we did finally were able to pull together. I think some of you were part of the public comments, and if you were, thank you for doing that. But we have this upcoming 3-year spill submitted this past June, and hope to get it finalized in the coming month or two. We can get that when it's finalized. I'm sure Lauren can share with the group during her weekly reports. And just like the SRC, we're in a member recruitment phase. We are looking for someone with a disability that's not associated with a Center for Independent Living specifically, just so we can keep our numbers correct. So if anyone is interested or knows anyone that might be interested, please have them at least contact Lauren, and she can direct them accordingly. Otherwise, things have been pretty quiet. So I'll be glad to answer any questions if anybody has anything.
Thanks, Sean. I don't see anything in the chat box, but Daniel has posted the Department of Education links that he said that he would post. So those are there. Make sure you take note of those. And I will make note of those and try to get them out in the newsletter. All right. Now, Jennifer, or Jenny, sorry.
Hello. From the Virginia Association of the Deaf, I don't have anything to report, but I'd also like to take this opportunity to encourage everyone to who sets up YouTube to make sure that the captions are not auto-generated. I've noticed that with the newsletters specifically, the captions are great, and the transcript, the image helps as well. The transcript description. The last thing, I forgot. Okay. When we're talking about different programs with school and work providing ASL interpreters, I really appreciate the SRC and DARS hiring interpreters, and the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, says that we cannot use the free interpreting through Virginia Relay Service for VRS. We can't use video relay service if we're in the same room as the person that we're talking to. So colleges and universities would like to use the interpreters for free for relay, but it's not accessible and not allowed under the FCC. So I appreciate DARS hiring interpreters for today, and to ensure that we have interpreters for employees. If you have any questions, welcome to ask. That's all.
Thanks so much, Jenny. Accessibility is definitely a priority in anything as far as meetings, materials, and I'm glad you noticed that the newsletter is accessible. That makes me happy. Thank you. So definitely you have another advocate on board that's all for accessibility in me. So. And we saved Garrett for last. Garrett?
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Laura. The chairperson, but Brownfield, Roanoke, Virginia. I do various speaking and disability advocacy work through my motivational movement, Overcome Yours. When times are good, I also work for a local ESO doing community engagement coaching for adults with disabilities. A lot of that has been just virtual, and so we've had to learn new ways to communicate and keep up with those clients the best that we can. Slowly transitioning into in-person services, but maintaining distance and hygiene and being as careful as possible with all of that. But on a personal note, from my own advocacy through my movement Overcome Yours, as many of you have stated already with your own efforts, a lot of things have been moved virtually, and some things have been canceled. I know for me, I was due to speak at several conferences this summer, all of which have been either moved virtually or canceled. Speaking virtually at a called the Walk Bike Places conference in 2 weeks. And I will be speaking on the importance of improving accessibility in terms of the built environment for those with disabilities, like streets, curb cuts, that type of thing. I'm also on the the board for my local pedestrian and bicycle commission, where we have started a campaign called "Every Corner is a Crosswalk," noting the need for more awareness for pedestrians and pedestrian safety, especially including those of us with disabilities, when it comes to moving about in our communities, so that those who are in vehicles, or nowadays even with the scooters, the electric lime scooters, just taking into account those of us who move about differently. Lastly, let's see. I will say that I have been on several. I'm also on the board for my local Center for Independent Living, and we have had several virtual calls there as well. The Blue Ridge Independent Living Council. So everything there is going well, and a lot of them have been working. But one more thing I wanted to mention, that as if you guys did not know, yesterday was the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act being signed into law. So, a lot of organizations have been doing great things highlighting the ADA. I've been partnering with organizations like the Virginia Board for People with Disabilities and other organizations in Virginia, just doing a lot of ADA stuff. Sure, many of you are very well versed in the ADA, but if not, I encourage you to do what you can to learn from many organizations on what the ADA is. And even on Netflix, they've got the great documentary Crip Camp. Encourage you to check that out to see, what actions were taken so long ago, back in the 60s and 70s, 80s, led to the ADA. So that's all I have for my report. And with that, if no one has any further comments or questions on anything, I think we should end unfinished business. And so with that, we will we will hear from Leah Mills. She will be speaking on the status of the Combined State Plan, implementation of BR services, and selection of the Combined State Plan, which is the SRC recommendations and the DARS response. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. And I'm going to try to do this in under 15 minutes because I know we're a little short on time because Elizabeth is still presenting. I hope you all can hear me okay. I'm so glad to be here today. So I thought what I would do very quickly is give you a real quick crash refresher on our Combined State Plan and tell you about the status of it. And I'm excited to tell you that our portion was approved by the U.S. Department of Education, the Rehabilitation Services Administration back in late June. So we're very excited, yay. But I'll tell you a little bit, just give you a little quick background on it, and then I'm going to tell you all about your section of our section of the Combined State Plan. So very quickly, back in 2014, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act changed the way that state vocational rehabilitation agencies submitted their combined state plans because we're now a full-fledged workforce partner. And so state VR agencies now submit either a unified plan or combined state plan. And what Virginia has opted to do is submit a combined state plan. And we do this every 4 years and with a 2-year modification. And the reason that I think it's really important and it's exciting is that Virginia has gone above and beyond. So we have exceeded the minimum requirements because states have to, with their 6 other workforce partners, which are, I will tell you, the other programs which are through in Virginia, they're run by the community college system. They're the adult program, the dislocated program, the youth program, the Adult Education and Family Literacy Act program, the Wagner-Pizer program, which is through the Virginia Employment Commission, and of course, our partner through the Department for Blind and Vision Impaired, they're a core workforce partner. But in Virginia, what we've also done, and this was back in the planning phases in 2016 when we first submitted the state plan, when Liz Smith was integral to that effort, we and other agencies decided to do a combined plan and add the other optional programs. And in Virginia, those are through the Department of Social Services, which is the TANF program, the Temporary Assistance to Needy Families program. Also the employment and training component through the SNAP program, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps. And a variety of programs through the Virginia Employment Commission that are also optional. Surprisingly, the unemployment insurance program is an optional program because I think before they filed their plan separately. So just to emphasize, this is the strategy, and it's really Virginia's marching orders for how all of our workforce programs are to operate. And it's over, as I said, over the 4 years. So you all may recall, and it seems awfully long ago, back in November, Governor Northam gave all of the state workforce agencies a vision statement for the delivery of workforce services. And I'm going to read it very, well, try not to go too quickly, but just to refresh your memory, because you all used this statement in developing your recommendations. And your recommendations, as I noted, were part of our section of the combined state plan. So let me just read this to you to refresh your memory. So this came down from the governor's office. During the life of this plan, we will improve economic opportunity for all Virginians by serving those who are not yet earning a sustainable wage, and as important, by focusing the resources and mechanisms of our workforce system to recruit people into the workforce and connecting them to businesses in high demand industries. So that might ring a bell with you all because I think Liz had done a breakout session focus group with you all in developing not only the recommendations that you all do in your annual report, but we use those in, as I said, in the state plan. So just to give you all an overview about what happened after the November meeting with the combined state plan, we and our workforce partners got together and had several planning sessions, and Dale Batten is a standing member of the core team with those other workforce agencies, and also she serves as staff to the Virginia Board for Workforce Development. And in the fall and in the spring, we worked not only on our standalone section, and you all may remember those because you all collaborate with us, and I think you may recall we presented our draft sections to you in the summer months and in the fall because we partner with you all and you all give us feedback on all of those sections, and that's a requirement in our regulations. So we worked with you separately, but we also worked with our workforce partners in developing the section of the state plan. And because we have so many partners and everyone has their own separate section, Virginia's state plan is pretty voluminous, as you can well imagine. It's over 500 pages, but every agency has their own section, such as we do, but we also have joint strategies and operational elements that really drive, as I said, Virginia's workforce agencies. So back in March, when the draft was compiled with all of our workforce partners, the draft was submitted to the Virginia Workforce Board for them to adopt it because that is a requirement under WIOA, under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And I'm pleased to tell you that they adopted it with it went through with flying colors. And then all of the agencies were able to submit their portion of the state plan to either the U.S. Department of Labor or in our case, the U.S. Department of Education, to RSA, the Rehabilitation Services Administration, as of April 1. So we met our timeframes, no problem. And those federal agencies had till April, had 90 days to give us feedback. And as I said, that was July 1. They themselves had a July 1 deadline. And so they told us at late June, they gave us some feedback and questions throughout the spring and summer months. And like I said, I'm pleased to tell you all that our section was approved in late June. And so all of the sections that you all may recall that we submitted to you all and you all helped us with, everything went through with, as I noted, with flying colors. And thank you all so much for your help. It really was very valuable, and some of the sections were not the most fun sections to review because they were strategies and numbers. 2 years from now, we might need your help again when we do the modification on some of those sections, but it truly was invaluable. So the last thing I will tell you about the status of the full combined state plan is whereas our section is approved, the full combined state plan is conditionally approved. That is because one of the optional partners, the Department of Labor, has some questions, and I think it's the Department of Social Services, their agency, they're providing some information. And so the full state plan will be available once it's final, and we're anticipating that will be come September. So it's still really in draft form, but as I said, the good news is that our section is approved. It's just that I don't have the full 500-page document to share with you all right now for good insomnia bedtime reading, but anyway, but that is the status of the state plan, and I thank you all again, as I said. So with that being said, Lauren had asked me to come today to speak with you all about your particular section in our section, which is the input of the State Rehab Council. And that's the section that you all helped with back in November. And the section that you all don't really know about is that we have to respond to your recommendations. And so you all gave us 7 recommendations, and I'll go through these briefly, and I think Lauren had sent those to you, Lauren, and they're I don't know what the name of the handout is, but it's noted it's input of the State Rehabilitation Council, and it would be item A, if that sounds right. And if you all need me to read anything for you, I'm happy to do so. But you all gave us 7 recommendations, and I'm pleased to tell you that we concurred with all of them. So let me go through all 7 of those just rather briefly, just to refresh your memories, because I think it's important, because I think what is going to happen over the course of the next year and probably 2 until the next state plan modification is that you all will probably see some of these topics again, probably in the form of staff recommendations or presentations. So let me get started. So your first recommendation to us was you were wanted to continue to monitor our work as far as the median wage for consumers. And that is a performance measure that we are tracking and we're required to track by RSA. And it's been going up, we're glad to say. And the last time I think that you all received information from Barbara Burkett on this and Dee Dee on this, it was $10, and this is the median. And so you had said you supported our efforts and commitment to trying to keep raising the median wage, and you just wanted to keep apprised of our efforts. And we responded to you and we said that we were glad that you were noticing our efforts. And we also noted that we were pleased to tell you that actually the programs at Wilson Workforce, some of their hourly wages exceeded the $10 rate. They were at $11.25 per hour for some of our consumers, and that we're going to continue to report back to you and monitor how we're doing with consumers and want your feedback and continued involvement on that. Your second recommendation to us was, again, it dealt with our WIOA performance measures and making sure that you had received information from Barbara Burkett about our demographics, and you wanted to see how we were doing on our performance measures and if we were keeping up and meeting our targets as we were supposed to be. And I think Dee Dee gave a really good overview in her comments to you today about how we were doing, especially with the wages at second and fourth quarter. And those are some of the measures that we're monitoring. And so I think that we concur that we're going to keep you all up to date. And she had mentioned that we're doing better than we thought we were, and we're going to continue to keep you posted on our progress on that. Your third recommendation to us is that you wanted to have us offer you all recommendations as far as aligning efforts with our other DARS staff and councils, particularly with the State Independent Living Council. And I think that it's really, Mr. Utt is a member of both the SRC and the State Independent Living Council. And of course, it's such a it's really a wonderful outcome that Lauren is staffing both. I think that this will be a wonderful way to keep you all apprised because she staffs both of these councils now. So it's a wonderful outcome. You happen to ask us as a state unit to keep you all up to date, and I know she's already doing her newsletters. So I think that we can say that we're kind of making progress on that recommendation too. But we're going to keep you posted on these efforts moving forward. Our number 4, your recommendation to us is that Barbara Burkett gave you all a very comprehensive presentation at your retreat as far as we do every 3 years a triennial needs assessment, statewide needs assessment about the needs of our consumers. And as Dee Dee and Commissioner Hayfield had stated previously, of course, we're serving individuals and we prioritize our services to individuals with most significant disabilities. But what we found in our needs assessment is not only that, we also have many individuals that we're serving that have other barriers to employment. And Barbara had talked to you all the last time around that 42% of our consumers have other barriers to employment, and those include like limited English proficiency, or maybe criminal background history, or even cultural barriers. And you had asked us to continue to provide you with information and potentially maybe some recommendations and collaborate with other agencies to try to address these needs. And we concurred that we would continue to keep you all apprised of this and any efforts that we were making to meet the needs of this population. Number 5, the recommendation that you had made to us was about our work with employers and informing you about efforts to educate employers about the value Virginians with disabilities bring to the workforce. And we've really tried, and I know that Dee Dee can continue to keep us up to date on some of these efforts about outreach to employers and the work of our business development folks in the field. And so I know, for example, we have had a grant that has helped us with these efforts, but you had asked us to keep you informed about our efforts of work with employers and again, keeping them informed about the value that individuals with disabilities bring to the workforce. And so we have noted that we concur and we're going to continue to do that. And also talk about the services that we can provide to assist individuals with disabilities. Number 6, the recommendation to us was like all of the services that we provide to individuals, students with disabilities. We had talked, I think, at that meeting about pre-employment transition services, but also about all of the good services with benefit planning and the need to educate individuals with disabilities about benefits and programs and the impact upon work and how it would not necessarily impact some of their benefits. And we concurred with that, and we've had some work that we've been trying to do in that arena ourselves, actually. So we're going to keep you all posted on some of these efforts as well. All right, so finally, the last recommendation you had to us, you all had a really busy year and a lot of good recommendations for us as an agency. You had asked us, and this is something that came in from Barbara's needs assessment, that we found that the prevalence rate for individuals with disabilities had surprisingly, it had risen for Native Americans, American Indians in Virginia. And it was higher actually than it was for African American population in Virginia, which was 13%, and it's closer, it's above 17% in Virginia for the Native American population. And so you had asked us to see if what our work was working with the recognized tribes. And there were some tribes that had achieved federal recognition in recent years. And so I don't know exactly what we've done with that in light of with COVID that's happened, but that's something that we are looking at now and that we're going to be reporting on our efforts to you as well. So that, hopefully I'm good on time. I tried to get through a lot. So that is basically how we responded to your section in the state plan. And as soon as the full combined state plan is approved by the Department of Labor, we will be happy to share it with Lauren, and we will be posting it on our website. And now you have our responses to your recommendations. And that pretty much concludes my remarks today. Does anyone have any questions?
Don't see any coming up in chat. Let's give it just a second in case. All right, doesn't look like there are any questions. Thank you so much, Leah.
No, and once again, thank you all for your help. I think that's why everything went through so easily, so I thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Leah. All right, now moving into new business. We will hear from Elizabeth Pataka as she reports on the consumer appeals and bids for new hearing officers. So take it away, Leah. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Firstly, I apologize for not having a camera. I will get that rectified as soon as I can so we can see each other next time. For those of you that don't know, I have taken over from my colleague Charlotte Arbogast, and I am now working as the VR appeals coordinator. So any consumer who has an appeal issue, they bring that to me, and I work with our hearing officers to get the ball rolling and make sure that their issues are heard. So let me go through the hearing officer report. This is going to cover the federal fiscal year 2019, which runs from October 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2019. DARS received one request for mediation, and this request was denied. We received 0 hearing requests. We received 0 requests for reviews of the impartial hearing officer decisions. DARS was party to 1 civil action, and the civil action was resolved in the favor of the agency. The types of complaints or issues involved in the disputes for the 1 mediation request and the 1 civil action included issues such as 2 were related to the nature, content, or scope of the IPE, 1 related to the quality of counseling services, 1 related to the delivery or quality of the VR services, and 1 related to the termination of services or service record closure. Usually the SRC would be provided with redacted decisions for hearing officers and reviews of hearing officer decisions. Since there were 0 during FY 2019, DARS has provided no redacted decisions to the SRC. We have, for the upcoming federal fiscal year 2020, we have some contract renewals. The contract for Barbara Byers expired on September 30th, 2020. Because we have been unsuccessful so far in hiring a new hearing officer, we have been authorized to grant a 6-month extension pending your approval. The Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired State Rehab Council has already approved this extension at their June 2020 meeting. Daniel Hand's contract is also up for renewal. This will be his 2nd renewal, leaving 2 more potential renewals. The full term of his contract expires September 30th, 2020. So this would just be a standard contract renewal. DBVI SRC has also already approved this renewal at their June 2020 meeting. Our 3rd hearing officer, Regina Kane, gave notice to cancel her contract, which took effect on March 21st, 2020. So we currently have 2 hearing officers, and we normally have around 4. So we put out an invitation for bid to seek to hire, I believe the bid said up to 4 hearing officers. This bid closed on July 15th, and we received 2 complete responses. So today we will need from you to name one primary member to serve on the invitation for bid committee, which will meet to evaluate the bids and make the recommendation on whether to contract with the 2 bidders. So we need one person as a primary member. We also need an alternate member in case the primary member has a conflict of interest with one of the respondents to the bid. The last time we reviewed bids from an IFB, the committee member was the representative from the Disability Law Center of Virginia. So that concludes the information I need to give you. So now we just need to decide who is going to represent your council on the IFB committee, and we need to vote on whether or not you want to extend the contracts for Barbara Byers and Daniel Hand.
Is Jolie Fawn perchance interested in doing this? If Julie Triplett was the last member, I believe, correct?
Yes, the last member was Julie Triplett, who was our representative from the Disability Law Center of Virginia. So if Jolie Fawn wants to fulfill that responsibility, we can certainly take her if she wants to do that.
Yes, I will. This is Joe LaFawn. I will review.
That's awesome.
This is Catherine. Don't we need, not to be a stickler, but don't we need a motion from the floor from one of the members?
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
For one of, yeah,
So if
one of
someone
the
wants to
other
make a
members.
motion.
I follow Robert's rules.
So this is Dawn Mosley. I make a motion to accept having Joe LaFawn as the member for the hearing committee. If I said that correctly.
That's perfect.
Okay, we need a second, right?
Who's our second? I'm sorry, Garrett. Got it.
If I can be, can I? I mean, I would have made the motion too, but I didn't know if I could do that. So.
Got it. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. You guys are used to this by now as many times as we've done roll call. Aaron Bassard.
Sorry, I agree.
All right, that's a yes. Tammy Burns.
Aye.
Pam Kobler.
Yes.
Daniel Irwin.
Yes.
Jolie Fawn Liddell.
Yes.
Dawn Mosley. Okay, never, you've made.
Okay.
Got it. Madeline Nunnally. She unmuted and muted. I don't know if you're sitting here. I heard a little bit of it. I'm thinking like what was it? Justin Spurlock.
Yes.
Sean Udd. Sean still with us? don't think Sean is still on the call. So Jenny Woodberg
Yes.
and Madeline, that was a yes, right?
It was.
Okay, thank you. All right, that is unanimous. We do need a backup. Is there somebody that would be willing to serve in the role as a backup? No? We gotta have a backup for Jolie Vaughn.
This is Dawn. I'll
This is
serve as
Aaron
backup.
Bosser. Okay.
Aaron, can you, Catherine, you,
Yeah, I was
just
gonna
gonna
say,
the
I would
DARS
do that.
rep can't serve.
right. I think Aaron, you can, but Dawn, I don't think that you can actually.
Oh, okay.
because of- Yeah, so Aaron, if you're willing to serve as backup,
Sure, yes.
all right. And Elizabeth,
Do we need to vote on the backup?
do we need to vote on the backup? That is a good question. I think that we should just for, yeah, consistency. So I'm gonna do, we need the motion again. It can be the same, but we just replace the name, but we'll go through it again.
This is Tammy. I make a motion that we approve the backup.
Okay.
And I'll second it again.
All right, Garrett. Good second, twice there. Lucky. All right, we'll do the roll call. Aaron Bassard,
Yes.
Tammy Burns,
Yes.
Pam Kobler,
Yes.
Daniel Irwin,
Yes.
Jolie Fawn Liddell,
Yes.
Dawn Mosley,
Yes.
Madeline Nunnally, Madeline Nunnally.
Yes.
All right, Justin Spurlock,
Yes.
okay, and Jenny Whittemore.
Yes.
Not a unanimous.
Now we have to vote.
Yes, now we're gonna need to decide on the contracts. You have 2 contracts that are renewable. The first one being Barbara Byers, correct? Does anyone want to make a motion to accept or not?
I motion that we accept.
So to renew, got it.
This is Madeline Nunley. I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Do another roll call. Aaron Bassard,
Yes.
Tammy Burns,
Yes.
Pam Kobler,
Yes.
Daniel Irwin,
Yes.
Jolie Fawn Liddell,
Yes.
Dawn Mosley,
Yes.
Justin Spurlock,
Yes.
Jenny Whittemore.
Yes.
All right, the second contract renewal, I'm sorry, tell me the name again.
Daniel.
Daniel Hand. So we're looking for a motion to renew or otherwise.
This is Dawn Mosley. I make a motion that we renew the contract.
This is Joe LaFawn, I second.
Awesome. All right, got one more roll call and we'll get this done. Aaron Bissard,
Yes.
Garrett Brumfield,
Yes.
Tammy Burns,
Yes.
Pam Kobler,
Yes.
Daniel Irwin,
Yes.
Madeline Nunnally,
Yes.
Justin Spurlock,
Yes.
Jenny Woodward.
Yes.
Okay. So that, both motions pass for the renewal of those hearing officers, Daniel Hand and Barbara Byers. Do you have any additional information on when the meetings will take place?
Oh, yes, once I'm able to get with the DBBI SRC representative, we will schedule the IFB committee. I will try to get that done before the September meeting so that we can present our findings to you then, so we can vote on whether or not to contract with the hearing officers.
All right, so Jolie Fawn will hear directly from you, correct?
Yes.
All right, Jolie Fawn, be looking for emails from Elizabeth Pataka.
Okie dokie, thank you.
Thank you. That finishes your new business. Garrett, was there anything else?
All right, no, nothing else for me.
Anything from the rest of the council? All right, you all are running almost right on time. You're just a couple minutes over at
Good job.
12:32. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to being in contact with you all. You will receive some treats in your email box today from me. That looks like bylaws and the date for the next meeting, which we are looking at September 21st. But please be on the lookout for those emails, and you will also be getting the newsletter just as usual, okay?
Thank you all.
If there's no further business, hearing no objections, we can adjourn. Oh, Dale, did you have your hand up?
No, I just want to say thanks, everybody.
Oh, okay, just want to make sure there's no objections, we can adjourn. Thank you so much, all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.